7 to Trafalgar, which means we have motorists heading to the Outlet Mall. Eastbound 401 is also heavy approaching the Trafalgar.
Thank you. I need to know exactly why people are on the highway.
Heavy from Mississauga Road to Mavis, from
They're going to
Weston
the Outlet Mall.
to the 400 ramp. It's also Vixen through Weston in the collectors. And westbound 401 is slow from Kiel in the collectors to the Dufferin ramp. Dufferin itself is slow going by Yorkdale. Eastbound 401 east of Brock Street, we have a pothole in the left lane that's been off. But it's still slow from east to the 412 to that point. Eastbound 401 at Dixon, the ramp lane is blocked with a mattress. MTO is aware. Westbound 401 is slow down.
Mattress. Who called mattress? You win a prize.
To Trafalgar. If you're traveling on the southbound 400, just be aware we have delay approaching Kirby to approaching Keston. It's all because of construction at the South Service en route blocking the left lane. No problems on the 404 Don Valley Parkway combination. The westbound Gardner combination also in good shape. It's just a bit slow on the eastbound 2EW from east of Huron, Ontario to Dixie. Snap up a box of week bargain on Nikon DSLR cameras and lenses. Right now, save up to $800 during the Capture the Savings event at your local Nikon authorized dealer. Your next report is at 5:21. And now with the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Well, some drizzly, misty weather now as we move into the evening hours and overnight as well. In terms of temperatures, they're going to hold steady about where we are right now, which is 3 degrees on average for most of the GTA. Temps will be mild to start the day on Friday, drizzly and near 10 degrees. And then as we start to dry up, we will also start to tap into some cooler, more seasonal air. Temps falling throughout the day on Friday, and by Friday night down to -3 with just a few clouds. Your overnight low tonight near 4 degrees.
680 News Time, 5:13.
A couple in the U.S. got a special Christmas gift in an unexpected place.
A couple in New Hampshire will not be returning this Christmas gift. A little baby boy born along the side of I-93 outside the city of Concord. The dad called 911 as the mom went into labor. A couple of state troopers, including Sergeant Vincent Greco, showed up to help deliver little Dominic.
I wouldn't let them touch my kid.
But as a parent myself, it was equally rewarding to see that look of joy in the parents' faces.
Says he's been on the job for 15 years, and this is the first time he's ever helped deliver a baby, and definitely
No
the first
shit,
time
you're not a
on
doctor,
Christmas
stupid.
Day. Kerry Preston, ABC News.
Well, these
680
crumbs, I'm
News
gonna have
Time,
to go put that in
5:14.
there.
Hello. Hi, it's Max, professional dream coach. Is this the Gary that dreams about never doing yard work again? Yeah. Well, Automax now has draws on Tuesdays and Fridays. So let's bigify that dream.
You mean I can...
So the body in Brampton was a hit and run.
Get a giant infinity pool, a hot tub.
But they found another body. The OPP
I'll
just did.
finally have the nicest yard on the block. Take that, Frank!
Automax now has draws Tuesdays and Fridays, plus even bigger jackpots. Why dream to the min when you can dream to the max?
First, your disability insurer denies your long-term disability claim, and then your employer threatens to fire you if you don't return to work. Sound familiar? My name is Aaron Waxman, and if your disability insurer denies your disability claim for any reason, or if your employer threatens to fire you because you're too sick to work, call me at 416-661-4878. And don't worry about upfront legal fees, because there are none. At my law firm, we only get paid when you get paid. And before you call, you should always remember, if there are no bad questions, 416-661-4878, or on your cell phone at pound LTD.
This is All News Radio, 680 News. 3 degrees and a little bit of rain. Good evening. The 680 News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto. I'm Cam Dorr.
And I'm Judy Friedman. Here's what's making news this hour.
Homicide detectives are in Brampton this evening, continuing to investigate an apparent hit and run that left a man dead last night. Constable Akil Lucan says one person is in custody. 680's Brittany Dewey has the details. Breaking news from the OPP. Human remains have been found this evening near both Baker and 410. Constable Akil Lucan confirming the findings to 680 News. Police are expected to update the investigation shortly. And coming up after sports, South Korea's military is on high alert after increased action from their neighbors to the north. 680 News.
Which ones?
5:15. It's time now for 680 Sports from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. Here's Josh Goldberg.
Cam, it was a track meet in the Czech Republic as Team Canada and the United States traded goals and chances for 3 periods. The Americans would jump ahead 2-0 after the first, before Canada stormed back with 4 unanswered to take a 4-2 lead. The Americans would answer right back to tie it at 4, but potential #1 pick, Alexis Lafreniere, put Canada ahead for good 5-4, and they would go on to a 6-4 win. There were 3 other finals from the first day at the tournament. which saw Sweden edge Finland 3-2 in overtime. The Czech Republic sweep by Russia 4-3, and Switzerland took down Kazakhstan 5-3. To soccer, where it's a busy Boxing Day in the EPL, as Jose Mourinho's Tottenham Hotspurs got a 2-1 win over Brighton. Southampton took down Chelsea 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. Everton picked up a 1-0 win over Burnley. Manchester United crushed Newcastle 4-1, and Liverpool blanked Leicester City 4-0. The NHL has one more off day for their Christmas break before play resumes tomorrow with the Leafs in New Jersey to take on the
And this
Devils.
is why people are watching basketball on Christmas.
For the Chicago Blackhawks, as the team announced defenseman Brent Seabrook is out for the season and will undergo both shoulder and hip surgeries. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime on the home of Tim and Sidney on TV and radio, Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
680 News Time 517.
I'm Christopher Lena, General Manager of Lexus Downtown. I hope you're free Friday or Saturday. It's our Boxing Week event, and it's a great opportunity to get an exceptional rate on a Lexus, as low as 0.9% on select models. Cash incentives up to $8,000 on selected 2019 models. And for 2 days only, special prices on all pre-owned and demonstrator vehicles. I'd love to meet you. Visit LexusDowntown.ca for details. We're part of Downtown Auto Group. You are what drives us.
Over the past 5 years, drivers have killed more than 200 pedestrians and cyclists on the streets of Toronto. That's a 43% increase compared to the previous 5 years. That's brutal. Come on, people. You're driving huge, multi-ton steel vehicles. Put the phone down. Put the coffee down. Put the food down. Keep your hands on the wheel and your eyes on the road. Pay
Get it
attention
backwards, man.
before someone else dies. Learn more at toronto.ca/art of distraction. This is a message brought to you by the City of Toronto.
680 News Time 518.
Christmas, which is supposed to be a day of joy, proved tragic for some across the U.S.
Police say that at least 4 people were found dead inside a home in a suburb of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Investigators believe all died from gunshot wounds. And in Boston, a woman and 2 young children died after being found unconscious on a sidewalk near a parking garage. The identities of the victims, as well as the woman's relationship to the children, who police say appeared to be under 5 years old, have yet to be determined. I'm Matt Small.
It's fucked up.
680 News Time 518. Turkey's highest court has ruled in favor of Wikipedia.
A win for Wikipedia as Turkey's constitutional court orders the country's 2-year ban to be lifted. The court says Ankara violated freedom of expression when it blocked access to the online encyclopedia in 2017. The government accused Wikipedia of a smear campaign, saying pages
Let's all
on
go
the site
edit
suggested
the Turkey
had
Wikipedia
cooperated
page.
with Syrian militants
Turkey
and
is
supported
a country
ISIS.
full of
It
duty
was
heads or
not
some shit.
immediately
Let's
clear
do it.
when access to the website will be restored. Lama Hassan, ABC News, London.
Thousands of people knelt in prayer in Indonesia during ceremonies marking the 15th anniversary of the Indian Ocean tsunami, one of modern history's worst natural disasters.
The massive December 26, 2004 tsunami was triggered by a magnitude 9.1 earthquake off Sumatra Island. The giant wall of water killed about 230,000 people in a dozen countries. Indonesia's Aceh province, which was closest to the earthquake, was hit first and hardest, with more than 170,000 people killed in Indonesia alone. Survivors and relatives of the dead attended memorial ceremonies and left flowers at mass graves of victims in the provincial capital Banda Aceh.
Oh shit, the reason I said I should have done
Irianto and his family travel to the
some
gravesite
shit I
every
should have done today. I
year.
didn't do.
We always come to the mass graves of tsunami victims because we don't know where our family is buried, he said. I'm Karen Chamas.
Coming up in 60 seconds, traffic and weather together on the ones.
680 News Time 520.
Hello. Hi, it's Max, professional dream coach. Is this the Gary that dreams about never doing yard work again? Yeah. Well, Lotto Max now has draws on Tuesdays and Fridays. So let's bigify that dream. You mean I can hire a landscaper? Go bigger. Get a giant infinity pool, a hot tub, oh, a sauna. I'll finally have the nicest yard on the block. Take that, Frank! Lotto Max now has draws Tuesdays and Fridays, plus even bigger jackpots. Why dream to the min when you can dream to the max?
You know what's crazy? Not using smarter tools to manage your small business. You work too hard to work this hard. Collecting receipts? Is this the 80s?
QuickBooks gives you a smarter set of business tools that do all the hard work for you. You may work for yourself, but you don't have to go at it alone.
It's easier than rewinding a VHS before returning it.
You earned it. We're here to make sure you get it. And for a limited time, save 70% when you buy Intuit QuickBooks. QuickBooks, backing you. Visit QuickBooks.ca for full offer details.
680 News Time, 521. Time for traffic and weather. Together on the ones, here's Christine Lundkos.
Thank you, Gavin. This report is brought to you by Don Valley North Lexus. And I'm just having a look at some of the routes around the GTA that are still busy, and there are not a lot of them. Eastbound 401 remains slow from east of here, Ontario to Dixie. The Gardner Expressway in very good shape traveling into and out of downtown. No delay to that construction between the DVP and York either. Southbound 400 approaching Teston at the South Service en route. There's construction here blocking the left lane, and because of that, it's heavy from approaching Kirby. On the eastbound 401, you'll still find a delay approaching the Trafalgar ramp. It says motorists head to the outlet mall, the Toronto Premium Outlets in that area. Eastbound 401 is also slow from Mississauga Road to Mavis. It's a bit busy through Weston and the Express, and from Keele Collectors to the Dufferin ramp. Looks like motorists are still heading over to Yorkdale and looking at the parking lot. So, boy, you need luck if you're heading to or from the malls right now. Eastbound 401 is heavy approaching Broad Street to east of it, where there's a pothole in the left lane. And we had a mattress eastbound 401 at Simpson blocking the ramp lane. Westbound 401, a delay approaching the 407 to Trafalgar. The Don Valley Parkway still in excellent shape north and southbound. At Don Valley North Lexus, lease the redesigned 2020 Lexus RX 350 from just $248 bi-weekly for 40 months. Visit DonValleyNorthLexus.com for details. Your next report is at 5:31, and now with the forecast, here is Denise Andriachi.
And drizzly conditions, 3 degrees downtown, misty weather and scattered light showers possible as we move through the evening and the overnight with some fog patches developing. It's kind of similar weather for Friday morning and mild temperatures, and then temps will fall throughout the day as we start to clear. Just a few clouds Friday night, lows near -3, sunny and +3 for Saturday, and then up to 20 millimeters of rain for Sunday. Warm temperatures again, though, highs near 9 degrees. Your overnight low tonight near 4.
Coming up at 5:30, the latest on a homicide investigation in Brampton. A man hit and killed by a car last night. Video surveillance appears to show the incident. Police cannot confirm it yet. And staying with Peel Police, officers say they've discovered human remains near Beauvert and Highway 410 this evening. Police are expected to arrive on scene shortly. 680 News Time, 5:23.
Missed out on Black Friday bargains? Don't worry. Hi, I'm Sean from New Balance Toronto, and we're gearing up for our Boxing Day blowout. From December 26th to January 12th, we're giving you the best prices of the year. Save up to 50% off footwear, apparel, and accessories. With deals like these, it's the perfect time to try something new or just stock up on the styles you love. New Balance Toronto, your fit specialist for 19 years. Some conditions apply. See store for details.
Hey, smart speaker, play what I need to know. Did you mean 680 News?
This holiday season, 680 News wants to help pay off those holiday bills with the 680 News
Streaming Secret.
Stream 680 News daily on your smart speaker or any streaming device for the secret code word of the week.
When you hear it, enter the weekly code for your chance to win $2,500 cash.
The 680 News Streaming Secret.
Exclusively on your smart speaker and streaming devices. For details, visit 680news.com/secret.
This new segment brought to you by Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. The CBC is defending itself after U.S. President Trump's eldest son retweeted criticism of the public broadcaster for airing a version of Home Alone 2 without his father's cameo.
Excuse me, where's the lobby?
Down the hall and to the left.
I didn't remember he was in that shit.
A spokesman for the CBC says the now president's scene was cut for time when the broadcast acquired rights to the film in 2014 before Trump was elected. Coming up in 60 seconds, the business report with Mike Epple.
680 News Time, 5:25. My benchmark for comfort is my dad's old Lazy Boy. My benchmark for style is House and Home. I'll get them both at the big Lazy Boy Boxing Week sale.
With the biggest holiday of the year ending, now's the time for the Lazy Boy Boxing Week sale to begin. With huge rundowns and percentage off tags, this is the biggest sale of the year.
Double scratch and save up to 50% off your purchase at 9 GTA stores plus Kitchener. Some savings are too big to fit into box, like Subway's Boxing Week sale, where you can save up to 40% on all-inclusive vacations at top-rated resorts. Save big now, so this winter you can vacation better with our best price guaranteed. But hurry, Boxing Week deals this hot will be flying off the shelf. Book by December 27th with your travel agent. on the 26th.
Time now for the 680 News Business Report in the center. Here is Mike Apple. Technology stocks continue to be outperformers in Thursday's trading as Wall Street got back to work after just a one-day break with record highs for all three of the major benchmark stock indicators. The NASDAQ is up for 11 days in a row, and 10 of those have been record highs, closing above 9,000 for the first time ever in today's trade, 9,022 up by 62 points. The Dow Jones added 105 points. The S&P 500 up 16, with shares of Apple up by close to 2%, extending its best year in about a decade with a gain of 83% for 2019. The share price at $289 and change US today. We also saw Amazon up 4% on what is expected to be a record breaker for e-commerce sales activity in the holiday shopping season. And Shopify of Ottawa will benefit tomorrow on Bay Street as its U.S. listed shares today jump by 3.8%. So that company provides the e-commerce supports and software for many of the biggest players in the industry. Retail stocks will be in the spotlight over the course of the next week. Looking at some of the best performers this year, at the top of the list is Target with a 2019 gain of 94%. Best Buy's up 66%. Costco up by 44%. The worst performers for the year, Macy's down 46%, and the Gap down by 31%. Price for oil hit its highest since September in today's trade, up 64 cents on the NYMEX quote, 61.75. Gold advanced $11.20 at $1,516, and that's an 8-week high for the precious metal. We saw electronic trading on the Canadian dollar, which settled at 76.25 cents US. The TSX resumes trade Friday with a record high, 17,180 is where it closed on Christmas Eve.
I don't know where they took Boxing Day off.
At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
Hi, I'm Cherry Tab, co-founder of the Herzig Eye Institute, and we do vision correction on chickens. It's true. Afterwards, when they're not feeling chicken anymore, they always say, I don't know why I was so nervous. That was so easy. Thank you. Thank you for holding my hand and answering my questions and taking such good care of me. So what are you waiting for? Google high definition vision. Learn about Herzig. Call us for a consultation. There's no charge. Look after yourself. Promise me.
Paul Cook and Catherine Duquet.
Weekday mornings starting at 5:30.
This is 680 News.
There are lots of ways to treat your cold symptoms. You can carry around a spoon and syrup, or try alternative methods. How about those lozenges? Why not drop all that for a different pay? Cold Drops. Just one drop with a naturally sourced ingredient for temporary symptom relief of cough, sore throat, and nasal congestion.
Just one drop.
For a retailer near you, visit colddrops.com. This product may not be right for you. Always read and follow the label.
You'll always be the first to know.
Breaking news when it happens.
680 News.
Time now for the 680 News Vacation Travelers Report in Honolulu. Humid and cloudy, 24 degrees. Las Vegas, a little bit of rain and 7 degrees. Good luck if you're down there. Miami, partly cloudy and 24 degrees in the UK. London, mostly cloudy and 6. To Mexico. In Mexico City, partly cloudy and 17. Cancun, a clear sky and 24 degrees. And in Kingston, Jamaica, humid, partly cloudy and 26. Right now, downtown Toronto, it's 3 degrees. Light drizzle. It feels like -3. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day and always be in the know. It's 5:30.
Number 1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
It's Thursday, December the 26th. Good evening. I'm Judy Friedman.
And I'm Cam Dory. Here's what's making news right now.
One person is in custody after a fatal hit and run on Christmas Day
in a
residential neighborhood in Brampton.
Oh.
Police investigating after human remains were found in the Beauvais and 410 area of Brampton.
Set those alarms and get a good parking spot. It's a Boxing Day bonanza with deals you can't refuse.
And a look back at the anniversary of the disappearance of Nicole Morin. Canada storms back for a win over the United States, part of a 4-game opener at the World Juniors in the Czech Republic. Sports at 45.
The record rally rolls on. The NASDAQ up for an 11th day, above 9,000, led by Amazon. Bay Street should get a lift from rising oil and gold prices in Friday's trade. Business at 56.
Time 5:31.
Time now for traffic and weather together on the ones. Checking the drive, here's Christine Langos.
This report is brought to you by Shell Canada. I'm just checking out the westbound 401, which is really improved across the GTA. It is slow, though, at the Trafalgar ramp, as is the eastbound 401. Both east and westbound 401 ramps to Trafalgar are still slow going. Motorists heading towards the Outlet Mall. Eastbound 401 is heavy approaching Mississauga Road to Mavis through Weston and the Express. From Keele Collectors to the Dufferin ramp, and eastbound 401 east to Brock Street. Left lane, a big old pothole. It's heavy going from approaching Brock Street. Hopefully they should have this area reopened shortly. No problems north or southbound on the Don Valley Parkway between the Gardner and the 401. Southbound 400 approaching Teston at the South Service en route. The left lane is blocked for construction, so it's a bit slow from approaching Kirby through that construction zone. You're free and clear on the westbound Gardner-Queenie combination. I'm not spotting any delays. Eastbound QEW does bounce up approaching Crawford to Dixie, and we have single lane construction affecting north and southbound Kiel north of Teston. It's simple to get 50 air miles bonus miles. Just fuel up 4 times with any Shell fuel. Only until December 27th. Details at shell.ca/air miles with fuel. Your next report is at 5:41. And now with the check of the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Misty, drizzly weather this evening and overnight some fog patches redeveloping. Now tomorrow morning should be mild and misty, just like it is right now. Highs near about 10 degrees, but those are early daytime highs, and then temps are going to fall through the afternoon. A few clouds and -3 by Friday night. Light drizzle and 3 degrees right now at Pearson Airport. Your overnight low near 4 degrees.
680 News Time 5:32.
The homicide unit has taken over after a man was struck and killed by a vehicle in Brampton last
This is
night.
intentional.
Brittany Dewey has the latest.
It happened late last night in the Sandalwood and Bramley area. A family in Brampton is now feeling the heavy impact of losing a family member after a man was hit and killed by a car on Christmas Day. Police say it happened in a usually quiet residential area on Sunny Meadow Boulevard.
We do know who the victim is. We are in the process of notifying the next of kin, and once that's done, we'll be able to share further information on the victim.
Constable Gil Mukin says they have one suspect in custody. Earlier, an extremely graphic video seemingly captured from a surveillance camera was circling on social media. Police have yet to confirm if it is connected to the incident. Anyone with more information is being asked to come
What the fuck
forward.
did it get on social media?
Breaking news from Brampton, where police have found human remains near Beaufort and the 410. Police and emergency crews are now on the scene. Expect road closures in that area. No word on the victim's identity. Stay with 680 News for more on this developing story.
This is 680 News at 5:33. Toronto police say the homicide unit is investigating after a man died in a community housing building. Police say officers were conducting a welfare check Sunday afternoon when they found the man inside an apartment. He was pronounced dead at the scene. He's since been identified as 55-year-old Dalibor Dolich. The death marks the city's 71st homicide of the year. Anyone with information is asked to contact police.
Toronto police continue to investigate a shooting in Regent Park. Officers responded to reports of gunfire in the Dundas and Sackville area just after 11 last night. Paramedics say one man was found at the intersection suffering from gunshot wounds. He was rushed to hospital with life-threatening injuries.
It is one of the busiest shopping days of the year, and people across the GTA still searching for deals and maybe more importantly parking spaces. With a live look at the Boxing Day traffic, we head back to the 680 News Traffic Center with Christine Langos. Christine.
Thank you, Kevin. Yes, I'm still surprised to see all this volume heading towards some of these malls. If you're heading to Yorkdale, the Yorkdale Mall, the 401 is heading both ways, approaching the Dufferin and Allen ramps. And Dufferin is slow from north of Lawrence to the 401. The parking lot is just a mess. So if you're trying to exit the mall, good luck with that. Toronto Premium Outlets in the West End, the 401 is heavy going, approaching the Trafalgar ramps, and Steeles remains jammed west of 9 At Scarborough Town Centre, McAllen is busy between Progress and Ellesmere. Not as jammed as it was earlier, but it's still busy. Around Square One, northbound here, Ontario, a bit slow from Burnhamthorpe to the 403. Vaughan Mills, northbound 400 ramp to Bass Pro Mills has improved. Fisherman's Way is still heavy in the parking lot, around and through the mall area, so very heavy with traffic. From the 680 News Traffic Center, I'm Christine Langos.
Once you get that parking space locked up, it's time to actually search for all the deals.
If you're headed to Yorkdale, stores like Guess and Aldo have every item in store listed on some sort of discount.
Army Canada Computers also offering deals on all of their items. At Best Buy, you can save up to $300 on phones and plans and $130 on a PlayStation 4, which also comes with a copy of NHL 20. For the bookworms, Chapters Indigo is up to 40% off bestsellers and buzzworthy books, as well as 50% off select book box sets. And if the idea of shopping on Boxing Day gives you the chills, instead you can check out Casa Loma, the CN Tower, or the Science Center. Select LCBO and beer stores will stay open. I'm Zach Bodenstein.
And you are likely looking to score some Boxing Day deals now that you've opened your Christmas presents and need some more. But be aware, police say thieves are out looking to ruin that holiday cheer. Police Constable Kevin Goodmurphy has a tip to help ensure you get home from the mall with all your gifts.
Important to remember that if you can, try not to carry large amounts of cash around with you. If you're going to be using your debit or credit card, always conceal your PIN, and try not to overload yourself with bags and boxes and items that may distract you from where your personal items are, such as a purse or a wallet.
Yeah, did you have to put stuff in your car and go back to do more shopping? Put it in the trunk or cover it up so criminals can't notice it.
This is All News Radio, 680 News. All fog advisories have ended for the GTA, but we're not completely in the clear weather-wise. The guaranteed high today, a mild 5 degrees. As our meteorologist Carl Lamb explains, we're in for some wet weather as the day goes on.
We are going to slowly get to our guaranteed high of 5 degrees. It likely will come later in the day because we're slowly going to warm up as that warm front approaches and brings that rain to us here in the GTA.
And for those heading back to work tomorrow after the holidays, Carl says a warm day is in store with an afternoon temperature of 10 degrees. But he says you might want to bring extra layers with you. It's expected to cool down later in the day.
The year of Bianca continues. Bianca Andreescu is your runaway winner of the Bobby Rosenfeld Award.
Bianca Andreescu was a relative unknown at the start of the year. She quickly became a star on the WTA Tour, winning 3 titles in all, including a stunning victory over Serena Williams in the U.S. Open final. Andreescu is capping her season by winning the Canadian Press Female Athlete of the Year award. Andreescu says that she improved her resiliency and patience this season.
I've had some crazy comebacks, and if I can keep improving that patience, I think it's only going to get better from here.
Andreescu picked up all but 2 of the 68 votes in the poll of broadcasters and editors from across the country. Greg Strong, the Canadian Press, Toronto.
680 News Time, 5:38.
680 News. Year in Review. Brought to you by the Chesterfield Shop.
This is Irene Precklett with a look back at July 30th, the 34th anniversary of the disappearance of Nicole Moran, who was 8 years old at the time. To mark the day, Toronto police releasing a sketch of what Nicole would look like at 42.
We're hoping that we can reach out to as many people as possible, utilizing social media, utilizing traditional media, get this picture out there. If anybody recognizes the picture of her, if it brings them back to 34 years, we've released both pictures to say, you know, I remember this girl showing up 34 years ago as an 8-year-old in the neighborhood.
Toronto police say they have not given up hope that Nicole will be found and that no tip is too small.
There's been no signs of her death. There's been nothing recovered in terms of clothing or anything related to her. There's no signs of foul play other than an 8-year-old missing that was supposed to go swimming in a pool.
The search for Nicole, one of the largest in Canadian history. In 2014, police searched in the Barrie area after a tip, but nothing turned up. With the year in review, I'm Irene Precklett. Coming up, a check of where gas prices are heading at midnight.
680 News Time, 5:39.
Aaron Park. Neil.
Why buy an Aaron Park Toyota? Well, when you see that every single individual from the moment you walk in is...
This kid says it was a van cab driver, the one they already had in custody.
You kind of feel that there's something intentional going on.
But apparently they knew that this morning.
That's nice to hear.
Aaron Park. It's time to Toyota. Time to get 0.49% finance rates up to 48 months on 2020 Corollas. All with Toyota Safety Sense.
Aaron Park. Now the 680 News gas price update. Infra predicts the price of gas will not change at midnight, holding at $1.19.9 a liter at most GTA stations. Traffic and weather together next. 680 News Time, 540.
Hurry to Bass Pro Shops now through January 8th for the Boxing Week blowout sale, featuring huge savings on quality outdoor gear and clothing. All the brands you trust, including clearance savings of up to 50% while supplies last. Take advantage of once-a-year savings on men's and ladies' clothing, rugged footwear, and gear for ice fishing, camping, and hunting. Plus, marine electronics, home decor, and more. Now's the perfect time to spend your Christmas gift cards at the lowest prices of the year. Bass Pro Shops on Highway 400 at Vaughan Mills and in Niagara on the Lake.
Hi, it's Fido. Holiday deals are in full swing and the fun continues with Boxing Week. Keep the best gift for yourself. The brilliant iPhone XR at $0 on select 2-year plans. It's brilliant in every way, including the price. And go all out without going over. With data overage protection included on all new plans. Hurry up in store or at Fido.ca to discover more holiday deals. Conditions apply. Fido, go get it.
680 News Time, 5:41. Now for a check of traffic and weather together. First, a look at the roads. Here's Christine Langos. This report is brought to you by Air Canada Vacations. I'm just having a look at the eastbound 401, and we still have some really busy ramps if you're heading to any of the malls this evening, as we head into the evening at any rate. Eastbound 401 is heavy approaching the Trafalgar ramp where the Outlet Mall is. Eastbound 401 is slow from Mississauga Road to Mavis, and heavy east of Keele to the Dufferin Road, which is very slow. So if you're taking that to go to Yorkdale, join the club. A lot of motorists are. Eastbound 401, a slight delay east of Brock Street because of a pothole blocking the left lane. They've cordoned off that left lane for that reason. Not doing any work on it right now, though. Westbound 401 is also busy at the Trafalgar ramp. And the good news is that's the only delay I'm seeing on the westbound 401 across the GTA. There's a slight delay southbound of the 400 from approaching Kirby to approaching Teston because of this construction at the South Service en route. The left lane has been blocked off. We're free and clear on the north and southbound Don Valley Parkway, top to bottom, no problems. Westbound Gardner Queenie is also in great shape if you're heading out of downtown. Eastbound QEW is busy approaching Hofbridge to Dixie. Eastbound Gardner, it's in good shape heading into downtown despite the fact that you're down to 2 lanes between York and the Don Valley Parkway. Want to escape the cold? Right now, Air Canada Vacations Boxing Day deals are up to 40% off. Visit aircanadavacations.com today. Your next report is at 5:51. Now with a look at the forecast, here's Denise Andriachi.
Misty, drizzly weather with some fog patches developing overnight, very similar to kind of the weather that we had earlier today, and that kind of continues into tomorrow morning, but temps are going to hold steady and be very mild tomorrow. We'll have highs near 10 degrees, short-lived and early in the day, because then we're going to see temperatures fall throughout the afternoon as we start to see some clearing, maybe even a few peaks of sunshine. That would be nice, but temps fall to lows about -3 for Friday night. Really sunny on Saturday, highs near +3. It's 3 degrees with light drizzle at Pearson at the moment with an east wind at about 20 kilometers an hour. Your overnight low, 4 degrees.
680 News Time, 5:43. A Florida waitress who had just depleted her entire bank account got a $2,000 tip on Christmas Eve. Annette Bio says the couple left her a check with the eye-popping amount on Tuesday. Last month, Bio spent $2,000 on car repairs, and the topic came up in conversation with the couple a few weeks back. When they returned for dinner on Christmas Eve, they left a check as the tip, along with a message that said, "Merry Christmas and restore your savings. God bless you." 680 News Time, 5:54.
In this corner, just looking for clean dishes, it's you. And in this corner, smelling like old cheese, it's your dishwasher from the 80s.
Oh, boxing and appliance references? That can only mean one thing. Boxing Day savings are coming to Appliance Canada. Find incredible Boxing Day specials and savings at Appliance Canada. Fridges, dishwashers, ranges, washers and dryers. Upgrade your kitchen and your life for less with Appliance Canada. Visit appliancecanada.com for a location near you in Toronto, Vaughan, or Mississauga. It's Boxing Week at Rona and Lowe's. Right now, get 5 times the Air Miles reward miles on purchases of $100 or more before tax. So if you forgot to get your loved ones those power tools they really wanted for Christmas, awesome! Or that electric fireplace they wished for.
You do really love me.
Now you'll get 5 times the Air Miles reward miles with your purchase. Hurry into a Rona or Lowe's store to take advantage of this limited time Air Miles offer. Ends December 31st. Terms and conditions apply. Details in store.
Fuck it over, it's Kenny.
680 News.
Cloudy sky, 3 degrees. Good evening from the 680 News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto. I'm Jimmy Friedman. Here are the top stories this hour. The homicide unit is investigating after an apparent hit and run in Brampton last night that left one man dead. One person is now in custody. Peel Regional Police arriving on the scene in Brampton tonight near Beauvert and the 410 after human remains were discovered. And it's still a busy one on the roads, especially in and around the malls. Boxing Day, of course. We're keeping you covered on the best routes for all your Boxing Day bargains. Now time for 680 Sports, and from Sportsnet 590 The Fan, here's Josh Goldberg.
All right, thanks very much, Judy. And it was all offense all the time today in the Czech Republic between Team Canada and the United States in their opener at the World Juniors as the Americans took a quick 2-0 lead after the first period. Canada responded with 4 unanswered to take a 2-goal lead before quickly giving up 2 to make it 4-4 in the third period. On the ensuing face-off after the Americans tied it up, potential 2020 #1 draft pick Alexis Lafreniere forced a turnover and tucked it in to make it 5-4 Canada. The Canadians would add an empty netter and go on to a 6-4 win. 3 other finals from the tournament today saw Sweden edge Finland 3-2 in overtime. The Czech Republic swept by Russia 4-3, and Switzerland took down Kazakhstan 5-3. To soccer, where it was a busy Boxing Day in the EPL, as Tottenham Hotspurs got a 2-1 win over Brighton, Southampton took down Chelsea 2-0 at Stamford Bridge. Everton edged Burnley 1-0. Crystal Palace got past West Ham 2-1, and Manchester United crushed Newcastle 4-1. To the NHL, where they're dark for one more day before play resumes tomorrow with the Leafs in New Jersey, but some tough news on the injury front for the Chicago Blackhawks. As the team announced, defenseman Brent Seabrook is out for the season and will undergo shoulder and hip surgeries. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour, or anytime on the home of Tim and Sid now on TV and radio, Sportsnet 590 The Fan.
680 News Time, 5:47.
From the excitement of their first day to walking proudly across the graduation stage, school's the start of a journey that can take kids anywhere. Our education system needs to evolve to reflect this journey, to better prepare kids for the future and the jobs of the future. So we're making updates with a focus on positive mental health, technology, skilled trades, and math, so our kids are prepared to succeed every step of the way. Learn how the government is improving your child's educational journey at ontario.ca/education for tomorrow. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
The Mercedes-Benz Oakville certified pre-owned year-end winter sales event is on now. For a limited time, enjoy exceptional offers such as finance rates from 0.99%, 3 payments waived on us, and existing customers get an additional 1% loyalty rate reduction. Plus, receive a special bonus offer with purchase available only at Mercedes-Benz Oakville. Visit our showroom today at the QEW and Dorval Drive in Oakville and use these generous offers to gift yourself a certified pre-owned Mercedes-Benz this holiday season.
This is All News Radio 680 News. It's 5:48. Amazon says billions of products were sold on its website over the holidays, including 500 million toys, fashion, home, and beauty items. The top-selling fashion brands included Carhartt, Champion, and Adidas. Among the toys, LOL Surprise Glitter Dolls, the Nerf and Strike Toy Blaster, and Anything Lego. And in home goods, the Instant Pot Duo 87-in-1 pressure cooker, the iRobot Roomba 675 vacuum, and the Mr. Coffee Mug Warmer. Those among the top sellers for Amazon. Yesterday, you probably unwrapped a lot of gifts. Today, you might want to exchange some of them.
So some of those holiday gifts didn't quite work. One way or the other, go on, return them, but you don't necessarily have to rush out to the mall today.
Most major retailers adjust their policies so their return windows extend into January and sometimes early February.
Regina Conway, consumer expert with the website Slick Deal, says having a gift receipt will help, but don't sweat it if you don't.
It really depends on which merchant it is, so you have to check the specific store policies. There are chances that you'll be able to return the product. Most likely in that case, you'll get a store credit as opposed to a refund.
Just make sure you keep the receipt for that. Daria Albinger, ABC News.
An avalanche that swept across a marked ski trail near the Swiss town of Andermatt has left 2 people injured. Emergency officials say 4 others managed to escape the snow onslaught on their own or with the help from rescuers. Some witnesses say more people might be buried, but authorities have called off the search, saying there were no more victims. The avalanche happened mid-morning Boxing Day while many holiday skiers were enjoying mountain sunshine. This is 680 News. Soldiers are increasingly reliant on electronic devices in battle, and scientists now believe they found a way to keep them charged without the need of an outlet.
The U.S. Army is working with a company to design sensor-fitted insoles that would generate electricity each time the wearer takes a step. The electricity would also allow commanders to track a soldier's location and have GPS, even in GPS-denied environments. Coming up in 60 seconds, a check of traffic and your extended forecast. 680 News Time, 5:50.
For 8 days, Toronto glows a little bit brighter as giant outdoor menorahs light up the night sky. As you travel our city, you'll see them at Old City Hall, Nathan Phillips Square, lighting up the foot of Queen's Park. There are some 30 of them around the GTA, shedding light from Niagara Falls all the way up to Aurora. These menorahs have been placed by the Chabad Lubavitch organization to help publicize the message of Hanukkah, the miraculous triumph of religious freedom over death. Still, the main celebration of Hanukkah remains a family affair. So in the evening of each of the 8 days of Hanukkah, gather your family and light the menorah, adding an additional flame each night. If you'd like to find out more or for a holiday guide, visit us online at Hanukkah.ca. This message is brought to you by Steele's Memorial Chapel, wishing you a happy Hanukkah.
680 News Time, 5:51, and time for traffic and weather together. Here's Christine Lagos.
And this report is brought to you by Nikon Canada. Eastbound 401 is still busy approaching the Trafalgar ramp, but it's really easing on that ramp from the eastbound 401. Eastbound 401 is slow from east of Winston Churchill to Mavis. There's a slight delay east of Kiel over to the Dufferin ramp, and I'm just having a look at the eastbound 401 ramp to Dufferin. It is absolutely jam-packed, so if you're heading to Yorkdale, you know what you have ahead of you. Eastbound 401, a minor delay east to Brock Street. It's all because of a pothole in the left lane, according to traffic spotters. They're not doing any repair work to it, but they have cordoned off that lane, so be aware of that. Westbound 401 is busy approaching the Island Express, and it's busy at the Trafalgar ramp still. Still have some motorists heading to the Outlet Mall in Milton. No problems north or southbound on the 404 Don Valley Parkway combination. Southbound 400 approaching Keston at the South Service en route with construction blocking the left lane. Looks to be a good drive on the westbound Gardner-Queenie combination. Eastbound QEW is busy from Crawford to Dixie. Eastbound Gardner, no troubles heading into downtown. Snap up the Boxing Week bargain on Nikon DSLR cameras and lenses. Right now, save up to $800 during the Capture the Savings event at your local Nikon authorized dealer. Your next report is at 6:01. And now with a check of the forecast, here's Denise Andreatti.
The drizzly, misty weather, but temperatures were mild for this time of year again today, and they'll hold steady through the overnight near 10 degrees for a high on Friday, but it's an early day high, and it comes with that drizzly, misty, foggy weather. Throughout the day, as we start to clear, see a bit of sunshine, temps start to fall, and then by tomorrow night, we'll be down to -3. Quite a bit of sunshine for Saturday near +3, and then the rest of December look unsettled, mild and rainy for Sunday, Monday, with some flurries and light snow on New Year's Eve. It's 3 degrees right now at Pearson Airport, your overnight low near 4.
This extended forecast is brought to you by Scotia iTrade. Direct invest with Scotia iTrade. Get up to $1,500 cash and $6.99 pricing on up to 500 free and money trades. Details at scotiaittrade.com/winter20.
Coming up at the top of the hour, the latest on a homicide investigation in Brampton. A man hit and killed by a car last night. And we're following breaking news from Brampton as well, where Peel police are investigating the discovery of human remains near Bavard and the 410. There's more coming up at 6.
We take pictures all the live long day. So before you buy your next car, take a picture of the dealer's advertised price and bring it with you to your dealer. Because all-in price advertising is the law. You should never be charged more than dealer's advertised price.
Presumption is there that they're not going to give you there, isn't it?
You've got rights.
Fuck, yeah.
And you've got OMVIC. Visit omvic.ca for more information. A consumer protection message from OMVIC, Ontario's vehicle sales regulator. Happy car buying, Ontario.
Hey, smart speaker, play what I need to know. Did you mean 680 News?
This holiday season, 680 News wants to help pay off those holiday bills with the 680 News
Streaming Secret.
Stream 680 News daily on your smart speaker or any streaming device for the secret code word of the week.
When you hear it, enter the weekly code for your chance to win $2,500 cash.
The 680 News Streaming Secret.
Exclusively on your smart speaker and streaming devices. For details, visit 680news.com/secret. 680 News Time, 5:54. You've likely been scarfing down a lot of treats for the past few weeks, so it might be time to visit the dentist's office, which is actually surprisingly busy right now as people try to use up their coverage before year's end. Dr. Massa Soraya understands people want a final cleaning.
It's really important that people know that and maximize their insurance.
She hopes that next holiday season, people book appointments well before Christmas. The Business Report is next. 680 News Time, 5:55.
Photon.net wants to show you how to make a
Yeah,
play.
however long it takes me to burn this, it's fucking
Favorite has it in the back of the net. You take your slap shot on the underdog. When the stakes are highest, you're just getting started. When all of social media says you've got no chance, you've got the perfect chirp to prove them wrong. Even when the odds are stacked against you, you're giving it at least 110%. Don't miss a chance to make a play at Photon.net. Your source of free casino games, poker strategy, and live hockey odds.
It's Staples Boxing Day with our lowest prices of the year, starting December 25th online and December 26th in store. The first 30 customers in store get a free gift card. Save $70 on Norton 360 Deluxe, now just $19.99. $150 on the Microsoft Surface Pro 7, now just $1049.99. And $70 on the Ultimate Ears Boom 3 waterproof Bluetooth speaker, now just $129.99. Plus, there's so much more. Get what you really wanted. Staples Boxing Day. Stores open early where permitted.
You'll hear it here
First, breaking news when it happens.
on 680 News.
680 News Time, 5:56. Time for the Business Report. Here's Mike Epple.
TC Energy is selling a majority stake in the Coastal GasLink natural gas pipeline.
Really?
Alberta's public pension manager, Alberta Investment Management Corp., is teaming up with New York-based private equity firm Colbert Travis Roberts to buy a 65% stake in that pipeline, expected to cost about $6.6 billion. Now, the official terms of the deal have not been disclosed, but the deal being seen as a positive signal for the project being constructed to ship northeastern BC gas to the LNG Canada liquefied natural gas project being built at Kitimat. The project still, though, faces opposition from environmentalists and local indigenous communities. We have the price for oil on the move today to its highest level since September. Crude futures up by more than 60 cents a barrel, north of $60.50 U.S. As oil is seeing a late-year rally, bolstered by falling U.S. oil inventories. The American Petroleum Institute report showed almost 8 million fewer barrels of supply in the pipeline system over the past week. Gold today hit its highest level in 8 weeks, up $11 at $1,516 an ounce. All of the major benchmarks on Wall Street hit records today, led again by the tech-heavy NASDAQ. Details from Bloomberg News.
The day after Christmas brought big gains to Wall Street. Technology led the way as the NASDAQ topped 9,000 for the first time. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 106. The S&P 500 climbed 17. The NASDAQ Composite jumped 70. WW International, better known as Weight Watchers, lost more than 8.5%. Nutrisystem announced new personal weight loss plans for 2020. The management shakeup continues at Boeing. Former General Counsel Michael Luttig is retiring. He had been advising former CEO Dennis Muhlenberg, who was ousted this week, on legal matters related to 2 fatal 737 MAX crashes. Larry Kosky, Bloomberg Radio.
The Canadian dollar electronically traded at 76.25 cents U.S., up by 1/3 of a cent. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
1/3 of a cent. Wait a second.
Reports on the on 680 News.
Some holiday deals on the internet sound good.
Half-price invisible unicorn? Sold.
But when you think about them, empty.
You got me again, internet.
Not so much. Get a great holiday deal you don't have to think about at the Bring Home a Honda event. Lease the new 2020 Honda Civic LX for just $65 weekly at 3.99%.
$6.6 billion. How come I couldn't find that on the internet? We're going to find that now.
Freight and fees for 60 months. Taxes extra. OAC. See HondaOntario.com. Bring Home a Honda. No thinking required.
Get ready to save. 2001 Audio Video's biggest and best Boxing Day sale anywhere is on today. Chain-wide, wall-to-wall inventory drastically reduced to the absolute lowest Boxing Day prices anywhere. Unbeatable door crashers. From wireless and audio products to 4K smart TVs with 2-year warranty. All on sale. Up to 80% off. Many items below cost.
That don't make sense.
Getting you where you need to go
Faster.
The most traffic in Toronto. 680 News.
Taking a look at some regional weather conditions, an overcast sky, 2 degrees right now in Milton, 1 degree in Richmond Hill, Brampton, 3 degrees on the plus side. Seeing a bit of rain in Ajax and in Oshawa, where it's 3 degrees in downtown Toronto right now. An overcast sky and 3. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. It's 6 o'clock.
For breaking news, traffic, and weather, this is 680 News, Toronto.
Good evening. It's Thursday, December 26th. I'm Lucas Castelletto. I'm Carl Garnish. Here's breaking news this hour.
A Christmas tragedy for a family in Brampton that has lost a family member after a brutal hit and run in the Sandalwood and Bramley area.
An investigation is underway in Brampton after human remains were discovered near the 410.
The Boxing Day rush has long passed, but that doesn't mean you can't snag a few more deals this evening.
The CBC confirms that Donald Trump's cameo in Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, has been axed.
Team Canada pulls off the comeback victory against the U.S. at the World Juniors, and Brent Seabrook is out for the remainder of the season. Sports at 15.
Record highs for all three main benchmark stock indicators on Wall Street, including NASDAQ above 9,000. Business at 26.
It's time for traffic and weather together on the ones with Toronto's most frequent traffic reports. Good evening, Colette Desjardins.
Good evening, and this report brought to you by Mercedes-Benz Barrie. Right now, looking at the eastbound 401, it's busy east of Winston Churchill to Mavis, and then east of Keele and the Collectors to the Dufferin Ramp, right into the Yorkdale Mall area. And then eastbound 401, east of Brock Road, or rather, east of Brock Street in Whitby, we still have pothole repairs in the left lane. If you're on the westbound 401, that's busy approaching the Island in the Express, and then the ramp from westbound 401 to Trafalgar. Southbound 400, we've got some construction. It's approaching Teston in the left lane, right beside the self-service en route. If you're traveling right now in the eastbound QEW, that's busy from Cawthra to Dixie. And the Mercedes-Benz Barrie Winter Sales event continues. They're covering your first 3 lease payments, OAC, on their most popular models. Offer ends December 31st. Details at mdbarrie.com. Your next traffic report coming up at 6:11. Right now, let's get the forecast. Denise Andriocci.
Periods of drizzle tonight. We could see some fog patches redevelop through the overnight, kind of linger into Friday morning. Temperatures will be rather mild through the morning and early afternoon, and then they'll fall throughout the day. A high tomorrow near about 10 degrees, a few clouds, and -3 for Friday night. Your overnight low tonight, 4 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, we're seeing periods of light drizzle at times, 3 degrees, but it feels like -3 with the wind. Over at Pearson International Airport, similar conditions, 2 degrees, also feels like -3 with that wind. 680 News Time, 6:02.
One man is dead, another in custody, following what appears to be an intentional hit and run outside a Brampton home. Peel Regional Police say the incident happened in the evening hours on Christmas.
This marks Peel Region's 28th homicide of the year, and police are now saying a 53-year-old man was arrested and charged with second-degree murder and is set to appear in court tomorrow. And 680's Brittany Dooley joins us with the details.
It's a situation that no family wants to find themselves in, especially on Christmas Day. A man is now dead after being hit by a car in the Sandalwood and Bramley area of Brampton. It happened just before 12 a.m. Just recently, an extremely graphic video was circulating on social media that may be connected to the incident, but police have not confirmed that.
We are aware that there is a video circulating. However, I'm not able to speak any further on that, as again, it could be evidence or it could not be. It's just we have to look at everything, the totality of everything, to determine if it is from this incident or not.
Constable Gil Lucan says one suspect is now in custody. Police are aware of the identity of the victim but are in the process of notifying next of kin. Meanwhile, the homicide unit has taken over the investigation, and anyone with more information is being asked to come forward. I'm Brittany Dooley.
680 News Time, 6:04. Breaking news. Peel Police, meantime, investigating after human remains were discovered in Brampton. Officers responding to a call just after 4:30 to the area of Highway 410 near Beauvert Drive. The gender and age of the victim is unknown at this time. Police are treating the act as suspicious. As you've been hearing in our traffic reports, there is currently a road closure in place at the off-ramp from Highway 410 to Beauvert. Stay with 680 News for more on this developing story.
You're listening to All News Radio 680 News at 6:04. While time is running out to grab those last-minute Boxing Day deals and discounts,
Closing time. Open all doors. The clock is ticking, but don't worry, you still have some time to return those unwanted socks or snag something that you really wanted this Christmas. Farm Mills, Sherway, and Bramalea City Center are going to be closing at 9 tonight, while Erin Mills, Scarborough Town Center, and Square One, they're going to be closing those doors at 8. And for the very last minute, late night shopping, we have Yorkdale open till 10 and Toronto Premium Outlets staying open till 11. Only select LCBO and beer stores are also available, and government and post offices, libraries, rec centers closed down. The TTC is running on a holiday schedule, while GO Transit is on a Saturday routine.
Toronto police say the case of a body found at a community housing residence is now being treated as a homicide. Officers were called to 251 Sherbourne Street for unknown trouble around 4:30 this afternoon when they found the body of a man. The man was pronounced dead on scene. He's since been identified as 55-year-old Deliber Dolick. His death marks the 74th homicide of the year. Anyone with information is asked to contact police.
This is 680 News. Turns out U.S. President Donald Trump has been cut from a Canadian broadcast of Home Alone 2 today, and 680's Nick Black has the details.
These people have it on VHS,
the
man.
CBC is under fire after Trump's cameo
That
in
movie's
Home
one of the
Alone 2
reasons
was
people still
edited
own
out of their
VCRs.
broadcast. Donald Trump Jr., the president's eldest son, retweeted criticism of the public broadcaster for airing a version of the 1992 holiday movie without his father's scene.
Excuse me, where's the lobby?
Down the hall and to the left.
Now, in response, the CBC confirmed in a statement that the scene was cut of the impeached president solely for time, and it was removed alongside others they deemed not integral to the plot. Notably, these edits were done years ago when the CBC acquired broadcasting rights back in 2014. That's roughly 2 years before Trump was elected. I'm Meg Black.
Yeah.
680 News Time.
Edit that at any fucking
Team
time.
Canada came out victorious in their first game at the World Junior Championships. This is the youngest team in Canadian tournament history with an average age of around 18 years old. The Canadian boys took home the W with a 6-4 win against their American counterparts. The U.S. certainly a tough opponent, but current odds have Team Canada favored to win the tournament. The boys in red return to the ice on Saturday for a pivotal matchup against Russia. That game gets underway at 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
This is 680 News. It's the end of the decade, and the OPP are reflecting on their work in the GTA over the last 5 years. OPP Sergeant Kerry Schmidt tweeted about the impaired drivers that have kept police unfortunately busy. The OPP apparently laid a whopping 7,520 impaired driving charges in total across the GTA over those 5 years, and averaging at well over 1,000 charges per year, but the numbers did show a steady decline in impaired driving offenses from around 1,700 in 2015 to just over 1,300 this year, and police say they've also investigated over 2,200 collisions since 2016 where drugs or alcohol were involved.
You're listening to All News Radio, 680 News. Speaking of impaired driving, a 27-year-old woman has been charged with just that. Toronto police say when they stopped one vehicle early this morning, the woman's 6-year-old child was asleep in the back of the car. Police crediting a Good Samaritan for calling 911 to report a suspected impaired driver. The woman blew over twice the legal limit.
This is 680 News. Canada's new Minister of Northern Affairs says there's a lot of work to do in the Arctic, and he's going to need the help from his colleagues. Rob Westgate of the Canadian Press has the details.
Some ball that snow.
MD Dan Vandal says his portfolio happens to intersect with many other ministries.
Touches on so many
Oh, yeah, you got all the resources, buddy.
transportation, infrastructure, energy, and resource development. Those all have standalone ministries. I need to develop the protocol on how we're going to tackle these things, and you know, also the budget. I need to make sure that the northern priorities are reflected in the budget.
Vandal says fleshing out the Liberal Arctic policy is a top priority. The framework was widely criticized when it was released in the dying days of the last government as lacking any specific direction. From the Canadian Press, I'm Rob Westgate.
680 News Time, 6:08. A cookie war has erupted in Italy. ABC's
What?
Megan Williams tells us all about it.
The Italian press has dubbed it La Guerra dei Biscotti, the cookie wars. It all began with Ferrero, the producer of the sugar-loaded chocolate spread Nutella, launching a new Nutella-filled cookie, trying to steal some of the market dominated by the Italian pasta and cookie producer Barilla. Now Barilla is hitting back with its own chocolate spread, trying to steal some of Ferrero's 80% market domination. Italians eat cookies for breakfast, so the market is huge here, more than $1 billion a year. Megan Williams, ABC News, Rome.
We'll update you on your gas prices coming up in just 30 seconds.
680 News Time, 6:09.
What you need to know now.
What have we learned? You can all make the same goddamn products. Now you're gonna have to sell them cheaper, you dumb
Is
motherfuckers.
this the Gary that dreams about never doing yard work again? Yeah. Well, Automax now has draws on Tuesdays and Fridays. So let's bigify that dream.
You mean I can hire a landscaper?
Go bigger.
Get a giant infinity pool, a hot tub, oh, a sauna. I'll finally have the nicest yard on the block. Take that, Frank!
Automax now has draws Tuesdays and Fridays, plus even bigger jackpots. Why dream to the min when you can dream to the max?
That is a lot of barrels.
And now for the 680 news gas price update. And Pro predicting the price will not change at midnight, staying at $1.19.9 a liter at most GTH stations. In just 60 seconds, we'll head back to the traffic center with an update from Colette Desjardins. 680 News Time, 610.
Hi, I'm Maureen Holloway. Boxing Week at Don Valley North Toyota is all about free winter tires. Today until December 31st, be one of the first 10 people each day to purchase or lease a new non-hybrid vehicle and get a free set of winter tires. Plus, lease rates from 0.49% or finance from as low as 0% on select models. Want free winter tires? It's time to Toyota.
Oh shit, it's one thing after another on fire.
Just east of the 404. Casalite Furniture's December sale ends soon.
Hi, I'm Rob from Casalite. For 17 years, our December sale has always been our biggest event. Unlike other sales, this sale is on every item we carry. And this year, we have over 30 of our most popular vendors in on the act, including our top modern Canadian manufacturers, as well as a great selection from all over the world. Come and see what we have in store or online to enjoy our best pricing.
Okay, but what's that? It's fucking Canadian company, Canadian fucking website.
Casalite.com.
611. It's time for traffic and
That makes it sound bigger. It's not billions. It's hundreds of millions.
Thanks. And this report brought to you by Shell. If you're heading northbound on the 410, apparently the ramps to Beauvert have been closed, all because of a police investigation. Also, we're just getting word right now, eastbound Finch at Yonge, police have closed the right lane for another police investigation. Eastbound on the 401 was busy east of Woodson Churchill to Mavis, and then again east of Keele and the collectors to the Dufferin ramp. And of course, Dufferin very, very heavy and slow, especially around the Yorkdale Mall. Eastbound 401, we've got
CBC has a 1-800 number. I didn't know that.
Broad Street, the left lane is occupied by that. Apparently, that's going on till tomorrow, those repairs. And if you're on the westbound 401, it was busy approaching the Allen in the Express. Also, the ramp from westbound 401 to Trafalgar. We've got some construction southbound on the 400, approaching Teston, right near the South Service en route. The left lane is blocked for that. In Simpleton, at 50 air miles bonus miles, just fuel up on 4 times with any Shell fuel, only until December 27th. Details at shell.ca/air miles with fuel. Your next traffic report at 6:21. Right now, let's get the forecast. Denise Andriacci.
Misty, drizzly weather continues tonight with some fog patches developing after midnight. Temperatures are mild for Friday morning and then they'll fall throughout the day. Overnight lows Friday near -3. Some sunshine for Saturday and highs near +3. Your overnight low tonight, 4 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, light drizzle falling. It's 3 degrees. It feels like -3 with that light wind chill. And over at Pearson Airport, similar conditions, 4 degrees, light drizzle falling there as well. At retail, tracking firm says more people did their holiday shopping online this year, and that pushed overall sales even higher. Early data from MasterCard Spending Pulse shows that retail sales in the U.S. rose 3.4% between November 1st and December 24th, compared with last year. Bert Flittinger of retail consulting firm Strategic Resource says it was a festive holiday season for retailers.
Record-breaking sales both online and in store after a somewhat muted November. So for November, December, January aggregated, we should set an all-time record of $1.1 trillion in retail sales.
MasterCard Spending Pulse says clothing sales rose 1%, jewelry sales increased by 1.8%, and electronics and appliances rose 4.6%. On 680 News with the Maple Leafs and Raptors both on tonight.
Figuring out what's spending money on.
Surrounds your World Juniors as Team Canada kicked their tournament off in style today. Sportsnet 590, The Fans' Callum Ming has more details coming up. 680 News Time, 6:14.
If you depressed to work and your insurance company ignores your doctor's opinion and denies your long-term disability claim, sound familiar? My name is Aaron
Finding interesting shit, but I gotta read it all
tonight
first.
for any reason. Call me 416.
Trying to sell this pipeline that don't fucking exist. That's the second pipe. I swear to God, $4.5 billion for one pipeline that doesn't exist. And this is 6.2 to 6.6 for another one. That's $11 billion for pipelines that don't fucking exist yet. They don't exist. If they just ran the pipe through some fucking half-assed way and sold that would make sense to me. There's no fucking pipe in the ground. You have to build the pipe after you buy. You have to buy the pipeline. Then you have to figure out how to fucking build it. So they're not gonna do it. They're selling it to you. That's how do you fucking spend $6 billion? This is why I don't mind not having shitloads of money. So I think I might do something stupid with it too, right?
Shop TSC.ca. Today's shopping choice.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
Who am I to criticize these, right? Yeah, I don't have $4.5 billion to give away, but I think you're making a mistake here.
The top stories this hour. One man is dead after he appeared to be intentionally run over by a car outside a Brampton home. The incident happening in the evening hours on Christmas. Police say one arrest has been made. And staying in Brampton, an investigation is underway after human remains were found near Highway 410 and Beauvert this evening. And the CBC confirmed that Donald Trump's cameo was removed from Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. A spokesperson says it was done to make way for commercials. 680 News Time, 6:15.
6+, 4+, and 6+ is $10+ billion. And yeah, it's Canadian dollars. It's still $7.5 billion US. It's still a shitload of money.
Today, and the USA took a 2-0 lead out of the first period against Canada, but the Canadians scored 3 goals in the second period, and then Alexis Lafreniere scored the game winner in the third to help Canada win 6-4. Lafreniere had 1 goal and 3 helpers. Guelph Storm netminder Nico Doss made 28 saves. Canada plays Russia on Saturday afternoon. Other finals, the Czechs beat Russia 4-3, Switzerland topped Kazakhstan 5-3, and Sweden edged Finland 3-2. Keeping with hockey, Chicago Blackhawks defenseman Brent Seabrook will undergo surgery on his right shoulder and both hips, which will take him out for the rest of the season. Seabrook was struggling with a career low in minutes per game. And Bianca Andreescu has been named the Canadian Press Female Athlete of the Year. This adds to her Lou Marsh Award for Top Canadian Athlete. Sports at 15 and 45, past every hour or anytime in the home of Tim and Sid, now on radio and TV. Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
Thank you very much, Callum. 680 News Time, 6:17.
Some things just don't fit, like an SUV that doesn't suit your lifestyle. That's why Toyota offers the adventure-ready RAV4 with available all-wheel drive. Find the Toyota that's right for you. Lease the 2020 RAV4 all-wheel drive LE for as low as $96 weekly at 5.49% APR for 52 months with $0 down, or finance from 3.99% APR for 36 months. Visit your local Ontario Toyota dealer or shoptoyota.ca. Some conditions apply.
Being right matters.
So if our weather forecast is off by more than 3 degrees,
You could wink at.
details at 680news.com. At Rogers, a new year means new possibilities for your business. When you choose business-grade internet solutions, keep your internet constantly connected with our wireless LTE backup network. And for a limited time, get Rogers Business Internet Pro Gigabit plus Office 365 for just $119.99
I don't understand where they get the money to buy things that don't exist yet.
1-866-ROGERS-6 or visit rogers.com/internet for biz. Rogers, make more for your business possible.
You can make more.
680 News Time, 6:18. Amazon says billions of products were sold on its website worldwide over the holiday season.
The top-selling fashion brands included Carhartt, Champion, and Adidas. Among toys, LOL Surprise Glitter Dolls, the Nerf N-Strike Toy Blaster, and anything Lego. And in home goods, the Instant Pot Duo 87-in-1 pressure cooker,
No,
the
you're
iRobot
lying.
Roomba
It's like
675
5-in-1
and a
maybe.
Mr. Coffee mug warmer. Amazon also says it sold tens of millions of Amazon devices. Brian Burrow, ABC News.
Some Americans separated from loved ones by the Trump administration's travel ban have gone as far as suing the U.S. government. The lawsuits are aimed at obtaining waivers, which are supposed to help family members make it past the ban and into the United States. But lawyers say the waiver process is still unpredictable and plagued with delays. Immigration lawyer Masha Kanbayai says the whole system is designed to frustrate applicants.
They're hoping that people will give up, that they'll be just like disillusioned with the process, that they'll not have the capacity to try to find an attorney, to pay an attorney, that people will just feel overwhelmed.
The U.S. government says more
See, that's when you throw buckets of shit at people.
Officials switched to a new automated process.
Don't do it to students in the library for no reason.
News at 6:19. A combat veteran says U.S. election officials have more in common with military strategists than they might think.
120 state and local election officials heard from an Army officer with battlefield experience.
If the democracy is under attack, and you guys are the ones who are like at the pointy tip of the spear, why shouldn't we train that way?
Eric Rosenbach's message involves a different kind of
This is like athletes that talk after the fucking game. Shut up. Throw the ball and shut up.
You exercise, you fail, you learn from the failure, and you go through that whole cycle again.
Oregon's election director, Stephen Trout, says people like him need to deal with the hardest and most challenging election issues.
Being able to differentiate that, and I think that's really consistent with the military approach of broad-based attack and knowing where all of the different information sources may come from.
Ed Donahue, Washington.
Traffic and weather together on the ones coming up in just a minute.
Talk about the militarization of certain things. And
Selling a home can be complicated. In Toronto, I trust Frank Leo to get you top dollar.
Trying to make it happen.
If you can't sell your house,
think like you're in the army. Think like you're at war.
Go to getleo.com today. That's getleo.com and start packing.
My resolutions for 2020: shop smarter.
These guys already act like they're at
eat
war.
healthier with Good Food meal kits. I get all the farm fresh ingredients I need to cook delicious recipes, like seared salmon with almond pesto, for breakfast to dinner and everything in between. Good Food delivers for free and to my doorstep. With Good Food, I also save about 50%
I need
on
Italian
grocery essentials
cookies
like
at
olive
like
oil,
6 in the
healthy
morning
snacks, and more.
every fucking
Drop
day.
the shop.
Can you
Go
do
to
that?
makegoodfood.ca now and get 40% off your first order. That's makegoodfood.ca.
If you want the most money for your home in Toronto, I trust the #1 RE/MAX agent in the world, Frank Leo, and his home sale guarantee. I'm Scott McGilvery. Selling a home doesn't have to be complicated. Go to getleo.com today. That's getleo.com and start packing. Time 6:21. It's time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks. In this report brought to you by UNICEF Canada, we've got problems on the westbound 401. West of Mavis, the left lane blocked with a stalled vehicle. Apparently, police are on the scene, so the backup is from west of here, Ontario. And also was busy on the ramp from westbound 401 to Trafalgar. Now, if you're heading northbound on the 410, we're getting word the ramps to Beauvert are shut down, off limits because of a police investigation. No idea when those ramps will reopen. If you're on the eastbound QEW, that was busy from Cawthra to Dixie. And right now, the Gardner looks good into and out of the
I'm not
downtown
familiar
core.
with the intersection, but they must not be able to access underneath those ramps on
Seen
foot.
any problems. If you're on the eastbound 401, it was busy approaching Mississauga Road to Mavis. Now, things are easing off finally on the eastbound 401 from east of Keele in the collectors to the Dufferin ramp, at least for now. And east of Brook Street in Whitby, we've got the left lane shut down for pothole repairs. If you're southbound on the 400, we've got construction approaching Teston right at the South Service en route. The left lane is blocked. And keep in mind, if you're getting around on city streets eastbound Finch at Young, the right lane was closed, all because of a police investigation. The cold, brisk winter is so much harsher for children who don't have the basic necessities to stay warm. Give by December 31st, and your gift will be doubled. Donate now at unicef.ca. Your next traffic report at 6:31. Right now, let's get the forecast. Denise Andriacci.
Periods of drizzle continue on and off throughout the rest of this evening, overnight, and even into Friday morning. We'll see some fog patches develop after midnight, kind of linger through the early part of Friday. Temps are mild to start tomorrow, and then we'll see temperatures fall throughout the day, down to -3 Friday night, sunny and +3 for Saturday. We're expecting periods of rain Sunday up to 20 millimeters. Very mild, highs near 9 degrees. Your overnight low tonight is +4.
Speaking of rain, it's raining right now in the city of Toronto. Light drizzle, though, 3 degrees. It feels
It might be, but I checked approximately an hour ago. I didn't see nothing.
6:80 news time, 6:24.
My benchmark for comfort is my dad's old lazy boy.
Every time I go outside, the ground is wet, but there's nothing coming out of the sky, so I don't know. It may well be raining. It could just be condensing right on the fucking ground.
Now's the time Boxing Week sale to begin. With huge markdowns and percentage off tags, this is the biggest sale of the year.
Double scratch and save up to 50% off your purchase at 9 GTA stores plus Kitchener.
Hi, my name is Peter Bullitt, founder of Hops for Hunger, and I'm the 680 News Community Hero for December. Well, Daily Bread Food Bank is actually in South Etobicoke, and we really try to partner with local, and one of the things that we're really good at is the food sort, because you imagine we've got a whole bunch of people in production at the brewery, so when we go down to do a food sort, they're all blown away by how much food we can actually sort for them.
The food at the food bank's all fucking stacked up in fucking empty 2-4s. Empty beer cases. Or used to be.
Contests. Canadian punk rockers Pop says there is a time and place for concert encores, but it's not usually at one of their shows.
Who the fuck are you? What?
The Toronto band made a pact shortly before the start of their 2019 tour that they wouldn't participate in the faux finale charade. Pup's lead singer rather, Stefan Babcock says the encore is supposed to be when something really special happens. Plenty of other artists are deciding to ditch the encore in their shows, including fellow Canadian acts Grimes and Alessia Cara. Meantime, veteran performer Tom Cochrane considers the encore a necessary component of the concert experience. Mike Ethel has your business report coming up.
People think you
680 News
fucking
Time,
much.
625.
Some people making noises on the stage.
Hospital for mental health. Help make this year's holidays brighter for patients at CAMH through Gifts of Light. When you support Gifts of Light, a patient in need receives a gift that reminds them they aren't alone this holiday season. Small gifts can make a big difference to someone living with mental illness. Please, give a gift of light to someone in need at giftsoflight.ca today.
This Boxing Week at Rogers, you can unwrap more during the Wrapped in Red event. That means more of your favorite Apple products, like iPhone 11 for $0, more picture-perfect photos with a pro-grade triple camera system, and more effortless all-day audio when you get a pair of AirPods on us. For a limited time, unwrap more when you get an iPhone 11 for $0 on select 2-year plans and get AirPods on us. While supplies last, on now at Rogers.
680 News Time, 626. Now for the 680 News Business Report, here's Mike Ethel.
Wall Street closed Thursday's trade at record highs, including the NASDAQ, up for an 11th day, its longest winning streak in a decade, up for its 10th consecutive record high, and north of 9,000 for the first time ever. We'll see if Bay Street can build on any of the Wall Street momentum when it resumes trade on Friday. The Canadian markets closed today for
Meaning will the cross-linked securities that increased in value today start the market off at a higher index, higher fucking
getting a lift from a drop in U.S. oil
point
supply
level.
levels, down almost 8 million barrels, according to the American Petroleum Institute over the past week. The price for gold is also at its highest level in 8 weeks, $1,515 an ounce. With a complete wrap-up of what happened on the U.S. markets today, we'll go to Bloomberg News.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average climbed 106. The S&P 500 rose 17. The Nasdaq Composite gained 70, posting its first ever close above 9,000. Amazon was the biggest gainer in the S&P 500, up nearly 4.5%. It says it was a record-breaking holiday season, with more people trying Prime than in any prior year. Tens of millions of Amazon devices were purchased. Apple gained nearly 2% to the latest in a series of record highs. It remains on track for its best yearly performance in a decade. iPhones and AirPods were high on many holiday wish lists, according to an Evercore ISI survey. Unemployment line shrank last week. The government says first-time claims for jobless benefits fell by 13,000 to 222,000. That's a 3-week low. Lowry Kofsky, Bloomberg Radio.
The Canadian dollar, electronically traded only today, up by a third of a cent at 76.25 cents.
The fuck numbers you think are giving us Monday to Friday, bro? It's always electronic. Wow, there's people just walking off with $100 grand in cash, changing it every fucking day. You're out of your fucking mind, bro.
Oh, boxing and appliance references? That can only mean one
The
thing.
numbers they
Boxing
usually
Day
use
savings
come
are coming
from,
to
I believe
Appliance
it's the
Canada.
New York Stock
Find
Exchange.
incredible Boxing Day specials and
It's
savings at Appliance Canada.
minimum $100,000 loss.
Washers and
dryers. Upgrade your kitchen and your
And
life.
there's a transaction every 10th of a second. So they're giving you an average of the spot price. And that doesn't include the cut of what they charge you to swap it.
Hope you're free Friday or Saturday. It's our Boxing Week event, and it's a great opportunity to get an exceptional
Only
rate
trading
on Lexus.
electronically today. I can go online right now to my bank account and trade electronically. We know it's electronic. I can't believe you just said that.
Special prices on all pre-owned and demonstrated.
You said it earlier and I didn't catch it. No, he did say that earlier. And I didn't think he said that. But he said that.
You are what drives us. When you need to know now.
You can technically trade stocks by signing the back and exchanging cash. You know, you can trade silver coins for your stocks if you want to. And then you can buy a fucking house with that if they sign the deed, if you really want to.
Cloudy skies, -6 degrees. In Winnipeg, partly cloudy with some snow possible overnight, and a high of -7 degrees. Right here in downtown Toronto, light drizzle, 3 degrees, with similar conditions over at Toronto Pearson Airport. The News Watch never stops. 680 News Time. 6:30.
Number one for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
It's a Thursday, December 26th. Good evening. I'm Carl Garnish. I'm Lucas Castellano. Here's what's making news right now. Police say a 53-year-old man is set to appear in a Brampton court tomorrow in connection with the region's 28th homicide of the year. Investigators have stepped in after human remains were located around Highway 410 in Beauvert and Brampton. Toronto police have identified the 55-year-old victim in the city's 74th homicide of the year. Time is almost up if you were looking to do some Boxing Day shopping. Malls across the GTA are getting ready to close their doors.
Alexis Lafreniere had a 4-point game as Canada opened the World Juniors with a win over the USA, and tennis player Bianca Andreescu adds to her award haul. Sports at 45.
U.S. markets continued the 2019 rally in Thursday's trade with the NASDAQ up for an 11th day. The Dow gained 105 at a record high. Business at 56.
Fuck, this is going to take another 10 minutes to fucking read through it.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones on your drive this evening. Here's Colette Desjardins.
This report brought to you by Mercedes-Benz Barrie. If you're on the eastbound 401, it's busy approaching Mississauga Road to Mavis, then approaching the 400 to east of Jane, mainly in the collectors. Now, the ramp to Dufferin looks pretty good, but Dufferin itself, that is very slow both ways, just parallel to Yorkdale Mall. And then don't forget eastbound 401, east of Brook Street in Whitby. We still have pothole repairs in the left lane. If you're on the westbound 401,
they called it a
west
sinkhole
of Mavis, we had a vehicle blocking the left lane, but apparently it's just cleared according to MTO. But the backup is still from here, Ontario, as a result. It's also slow on the ramp from westbound 401 to Trafalgar, northbound Trafalgar into the Outlet Mall. That is very slow, and the intersection of Steeles and Trafalgar backed up in all directions. If you're on the southbound 400, that's busy approaching Teston because we've got the left lane blocked for construction. Northbound 410, the ramps to Beauvert apparently are still closed because of a police investigation. Eastbound QEW, it's looking good, just a little bit busy approaching Dixie, but it soon will be eased off. Now, eastbound Finch at Yonge, at last check, the right lane was blocked, all because of a police investigation. The Mercedes-Benz Barrie Winter Sale event continues. They're covering your first 3 lease payments, OAC, on their most popular models. Offer ends December 31st. Details at mbbarrie.com. Your next traffic report at 6:41. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriacci.
Drizzly weather will continue for the rest of the night tonight and into part of the day on Friday, with some fog patches developing overnight, kind of lingering into Friday morning. Mild temperatures to start off on Friday, and then they'll fall throughout the afternoon. And by Friday night, we're down to lows near -3 with a few clouds. Your overnight low tonight, 4 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, light drizzle and 3 degrees. Similar conditions over at Pearson Airport. 680 News Time, 6:33. Police say a 53-year-old man has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder in connection with the region's 28th homicide of the year. He's now expected to appear before Brampton Court tomorrow. 680's Brittany Dooley has the details on the deadly hit-and-run around Sandalwood in Bramalea just before midnight that claimed the life of a 51-year-old man.
Sunny Meadow Boulevard is in a residential neighborhood that is usually quiet. Now, a family is dealing with the unspeakable after a man was killed in a hit-and-run just outside a home. Constables Neil Wilkins says the homicide unit is taking the investigation.
I know our officers have canvassed the areas and the homes surrounding had in the area from surveillance as well as the witnesses. I don't know what exactly they have in terms of evidence, but again, what we have for evidence is not something we would typically speak on again because we do want to protect any future court proceeding.
A witness in the area says that a couple was out for a walk when they saw the victim. He was found bleeding from his nose and had a broken leg. Shortly after being transported to hospital, he was pronounced dead. Now, police are working on notifying next of kin. I'm Brittany Dooley.
You're listening to All News Radio 680 News at 6:34. Breaking news from Brampton, where investigators are looking into the discovery of human remains near Highway 410 and Bovair Drive. Officers responded around 4:40 this afternoon, and reports claim an officer actually came across the remains while pursuing a suspect in connection with a collision in the area. Now, crews say it is a full body. There's no age or gender that has been given at this time. Officers have also begun to look through missing persons reports across the GTA. As you've been hearing in our traffic reports, you're being asked to avoid the area.
I would hope you would do that. They didn't say that about the last like 3 bodies. Holy fuck.
6:35. Toronto police are searching for suspects following a robbery around Yonge and Finch. Officers responding to reports that a woman was approached by 2 men wearing masks just after 6 o'clock this evening who used a gun to rob her. They apparently fled the scene in an SUV. Police say one suspect has been described as a white male in his 20s, standing around 5'7", and was seen wearing a black jacket. Any witnesses are being asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
Toronto police have identified the 55-year-old victim in the city's 74th homicide of the year. Officers responded to 251 Sherbourne Street, that's just north of Dundas, for unknown trouble around 4:30 Sunday afternoon. A man was pronounced dead on scene, and police have now identified him as Deldor Dolik, who's known on suspects, and anyone with information is asked to contact police.
You're listening to All News Radio 680 News. Tick-tock, tick-tock. That's the sound of time running out to get your Boxing Day deal. Sherway Gardens, Bramley Center, and Vaughan Mills all
What are they going to do? Throw it out? They're going to
8
fucking sell it tomorrow.
for Square One, Scarborough Town Center, and Erin Mills shoppers. If you really need that extra time, Yorkdale closes at 10, and Toronto Premium Outlets finish at 11 o'clock. Select LCBO and beer stores are all open. The TTC is on a holiday schedule, and Go Transit is on a Saturday routine.
This is 680 News. It turns out that more Americans filled their carts online during the holiday season, which helped push total sales higher. According to data from MasterCard Spending, Pulse U.S. retail sales rose 3.4% from the beginning of November to Christmas Eve, compared with last year, with online sales surging 18.8%. And online shopping made up nearly 15% of total retail sales. Now, MasterCard says department stores, which have been hit hard by online shopping, had trouble getting shoppers in their doors, with total sales falling 1.8%.
680 News Time, 6:37. With holiday ride campaigns continuing until January 5th, the OPP is reflecting on the number of impaired driving charges laid in the GTA over the last 5 years. OPP Sergeant Kerry Schmidt tweeted that provincial police laid 7,000 impaired driving charges. For the most part, the number of charges did decline from 2015 to 2019. 5 years ago, just over 1,700 charges were laid compared to just over 1,300 this year. Police add that more than 2,200 collisions have been investigated since 2016, which were drugs or alcohol were involved. Still aiming for 0 incidents, officers are encouraging you to contact them if you suspect that someone is driving impaired.
This is 680 News. The CBC is defending itself after U.S. President Donald Trump's eldest son retweeted criticism of the public broadcaster.
CBC has a 1-800 number. Canada only, but they do have it. You can go to any phone in Canada and call these motherfuckers up and tell them how you feel about Home Alone 2.
And Home Alone 2. In the uncut version, Trump makes a 7-second cameo at the Plaza Hotel in New York, where Macaulay Culkin's character Kevin McAllister asks him for directions to the lobby.
Don't be rude. Don't be rude.
The CBC has issued a statement that it's not uncommon for scenes to be cut for commercial time. Notably, Trump's scene was cut alongside others. According to the CBC, the edits were made over 5 years ago when they acquired the rights back in 2014, long before Trump even threw his hat into the presidential race. No word from Trump on his reaction to his cameo being nixed. I'm Meg Black.
680 News Time, 6:38. The Nova Scotia SPCA says the owner of 35 dogs and 6 puppies removed from alleged puppy mill is appealing the seizure. The owner is reportedly looking to argue if the decision was lawful before the government-appointed Animal Welfare Appeal Board. The organization made the seizure earlier this month near the community of Wolfville. A public hearing by the board is scheduled for Monday.
680 News Time, 6:39.
680 News.
I read the whole fucking article and I was gone. Motherfucker, how the fuck am I gonna find it?
November
I think I
10th,
might be able to
marking
find
40
it.
years since the Mississauga miracle. No one was killed in this massive train derailment despite the potentially disastrous circumstances. A Canadian
Miracle, you
Pacific
guys
freight
are
train filled
twisted,
with
eh?
chemicals and
I call that a
explosives
disaster,
going off
the
the
safety
rails just
issue.
before midnight near Mavis and Dundas.
A cloud of deadly chlorine gas is leaking from a derailed tanker car west of Toronto.
An explosion sending a fireball thousands of feet into the sky, visible 100 kilometers away, triggering at the time the largest peacetime evacuation in North America involving 250,000 people.
People love need to get dressed.
Hazel McCallion was the mayor.
I remember the morning I stood out on Pure Ontario with the press and said, the city is closed down.
And residents also remember.
You could actually feel it.
It's official, she said it.
They all looked at each other and said, what was that?
That was actually the last major explosion in the GTA until the Sunrise propane blast in 2008. With the year in review, I'm Jamie Pulfer.
Coming up, a check on where the price of gas is going at midnight, followed by traffic and weather together on the ones. 680 News Time,
I was reading all about the teacher's pension plan.
OFX are global money transfer specialists
Being,
helping individuals
fuck.
and businesses move money in 55 currencies. OFX is on a mission to lead the age of borderless money by combining a
I don't know how I'm gonna
streamlined
find
digital
that now.
experience, 24/7 human support, and competitive rates. Whether you are sending money to family abroad, paying for
I already
overseas
made the copy
purchases,
and have the
or just
fucking
want to hang
script, so
on to
I'm
more
gonna
of your
find
money
this
as it
fucking
travels
article.
around the
It's
world.
not even the whole
Learn
fucking
more
point
at
of what I was gonna read.
OFX.com,
This one
or
pisses
simply
me off.
download the OFX app. It's how the world moves money.
Now the 680 News gas price update. Emperor predicts the price of gas is not going to change at midnight, holding at $1.19.9 a liter at most GTA stations.
I'm off the medications and I feel great because I lost the weight that was making me sick. And you can too. I'm Pat Carano, a 51-year-old accounting professional from Woodbridge. Sleep apnea, sciatica, I had it all until I lost the weight and kept it off with the team at Harvey Brooker Weight Loss for Men.
Don't miss 20% off 2020 memberships. New members only. Call now, 416-222-9887. HarveyBrooker.com.
If you could do it alone, you would have done it already.
At Mazda, we believe that
I have to double check some other shit. Hey, these people are out of their fucking mind.
begin a new journey in a new Mazda with available iActive all-wheel drive at the Mazda year-end event. Right now, you can receive 0% purchase financing on select models, or up to a $1,500 year-end event bonus on other select Mazdas. Plus, Mazda's unlimited mileage warranty. Hurry in. The Mazda year-end event is over January 2nd. Visit your Mazda dealer or Mazda.ca today.
641. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
This report brought to you by Global Story Network. If you're traveling on the westbound 401, west of Mavis, problems haven't cleared, but it is extremely slow from approaching here, Ontario. Also very slow on the ramp from westbound 401 to Trafalgar, and as I mentioned before, northbound Trafalgar into the outlet mall, the Toronto Premium Outlet, that is extremely slow, and the intersection of Trafalgar and Steeles slow in all directions. Southbound 400 approaching Teston at the South Service en route, we've got the left lane closed, all because of construction. According to MTO, the ramps from northbound 410 to Beauvert are open. However, some city streets in the area may be closed for police investigation. We're just trying to get on the phone with Peel and find out more information. Eastbound QEW was easing off approaching Dixie. If you're getting around on city streets, eastbound Finch at Young, police had the right lane closed for an investigation. Getting older, so is Jody Miller, one of America's hottest comics. Check out her podcast, Don't Call Me Ma'am, for some hilarious insights and stories. Visit globalstorynetwork.com. Your next traffic report at 6:51. Right now, let's get the forecast. Denise Andriachi.
Periods of drizzle and some fog patches will continue tonight and into Friday morning. Then will be mostly cloudy through the rest of the day on Friday as temperatures fall. More seasonal for Friday night, a few clouds, -3. Sunny and +3 for Saturday. Your overnight low tonight, 4 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, we still have some periods of light drizzle at times. 3 degrees feels like -3 with the wind. Checking Pearson International Airport, similar conditions. It's 2 degrees currently, but it also feels like -3 with that wind. 680 News Time, 6:43. It's Boxing Day, and it marked the beginning of the World Junior Hockey Championship. Team Canada hustled for the win in their first game against the U.S. today. In Sportsnet 590, the fans, Calaming has the game recap.
The World Juniors began with a big rivalry game. It was Canada opening the tournament against the USA, and the Americans took a 2-0 lead in the first period. But then Connor McMichael, Barrett Hayton, and Nolan Foote gave the Canadians the lead after the second. Canada held on for a 6-4 win. Hayton had 2 goals in the game, but potential first overall pick at the next NHL draft, Alexis Lafreniere, was the star with 1 goal and 3 assists. The Canadians play Russia on Saturday. Meantime, the Czechs, Swiss, and Swedes were also winners on opening day. From Sportsnet 590 The Fan, I'm Calaming.
Still to come on 680 News, we got more awards for a Canadian tennis superstar. The details are coming up in Sports at 45. 680 News Time, 6:44.
Aaron Park.
Neil, why buy at Aaron Park Toyota? Well, when you see that every single individual from the moment you walk in is gearing all of what they're doing towards a positive experience, you kind of feel that there's something intentional going on.
White on white, that is a great choice. If that's color, eh? Holy fuck, eh?
Toyota, time to get 0.49% finance rates up to 48 months on 2020 Corollas, all with Toyota Safety Sense.
Aaron Park.
How does Sugar Plum Fairy transform Canada's Wonderland into the world of Winterfest?
We need lights, millions of them, a gigantic Christmas tree, and Snoopy and the Peanuts gang, and ice skating and carolers spreading cheer. And more lights, and a heap of live shows and family rides.
Hurry for magical mulattoes from the world of Canada's Wonderland's Winterfest. Select dates through December 31st. Don't miss the final days of Winterfest. Open daily Thursday through December 31st. Save on tickets at CanadasWonderland.com.
This is All News Radio, 680 News.
Periods of light drizzle, 3 degrees, still month -3 without wind. Good evening from the 680 News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto. I'm Carl Garnish. For the top stories this hour, Peel Police have arrested and charged a 53-year-old man in connection with the region's 28th homicide of the year. He's expected
These
to
old
appear in
dudes killing each other.
tomorrow. Checking missing persons reports across GTA, investigators are working to identify human remains found around the 410 Boulevard in Brampton. And time is running short. If you're looking to snag any last-minute Boxing Day deals, a number of malls across the GTA are preparing to close their doors. 680 News Time, 6:46.
Wow. God knows I do all my shopping at the mall.
2001 audio video from Sportsnet 590 The Fan. What's the latest, Calaming?
Thanks, Carl. Well, Canada's Alexis Lafreniere turned in the game-winning goal and 3 assists on the way to a 6-4 win over the United States. Arizona Coyote Barrett Hayton had 2 goals, and Nico Dawes, who plays for the Guelph Storm of the OHL, made 28 saves in the win. Canada looks ahead to Russia on Saturday afternoon. Other finals, the Czechs beat Russia 4-3, Switzerland topped Kazakhstan 5-3, and Sweden edged Finland 3-2. Some NHL news: Chicago Blackhawks defenseman Brent Seabrook will get surgery on his right shoulder and both hips, which will take him out for the rest of the season. Seabrook had just 4 points in 32 games so far. And Bianca Andreescu has added the Canadian Press Female Athlete of the Year to her Lou Marsh Award. Andreescu won the U.S. Open, becoming the first Canadian to win a Grand Slam singles title. Sports at 15 and 45, past every hour or anytime on the home of Tim and Sid. Now on radio and TV. Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
680 News Time, 6:47.
Get ready to save! 2001 Audio Video's biggest and best Boxing Day sale anywhere is on today. Chain-wide, wall-to-wall inventory drastically reduced to the absolute lowest Boxing Day prices anywhere. Unbeatable door crashers. From wireless and audio products to 4K smart TVs with 2-year warranty. All on sale. Up to 80% off. Many items below cost. 2001.
Hi, I'm Lauren Holloway. You'll never forget the day you got a Lexus. Make that day today. It's the Lexus December to Remember event at Don Valley North Lexus, where you can lease the redesigned 2020 RX 350 with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto for just $248 bi-weekly for 40 months. And that includes $2,000 in delivery credits. Expect excellence at Don Valley North Lexus, 3120 Steeles, just east of the 404. Don Valley North Lexus. Details at DonValleyNorthLexus.com.
You're listening to All News Radio 680 News at 648. New data finds that soldiers are increasingly reliant on electronic devices while in battle, and scientists now believe they have found a way to keep them charged without the need of an outlet. The U.S. Army is now working with a company to design sensor-fitted insoles that would generate electricity each time the wearer takes a step. The electricity would also allow commanders to track a soldier's locations, and it also allows commanders to track their soldiers in GPS.
What if you're fighting the Russians and they hack your shit,
This is
bro?
680 News. Well, a U.S. couple got a very special
Totally
Christmas gift,
fuck up your
albeit an
profile
unexpected
pic and
one.
everything.
A couple in New Hampshire will not be returning this Christmas gift. A little baby boy born along the side of I-93 outside the city of Concord. The dad called 911 as the mom went into labor. A couple of state troopers, including Sergeant Vincent Greco, showed up to help deliver little Dominic.
It's nice to be there for somebody in a time of need. But as a parent myself, it was equally rewarding to see all the joy in the parents' faces.
Says he's been on the job for 15 years, and this is the first time he's ever helped deliver a baby, and definitely the
Because
first
you're not a
time
doctor,
on
buddy.
Christmas Day.
I hope you never do it again, too.
680 News Time, 649. After a 2-week manhunt, a 14-year-old suspected of fatally stabbing a college student in New York City has been found.
NYPD Chief of Detectives Rodney Harrison tweeted, police have located the 14-year-old boy but gave no other details, and they are not releasing his name because of his young age. The teen is one of 3 youths police believe were involved in the stabbing of 18-year-old Tessa Majors as she walked through Morningside Park near Barnard on December 11. Police tracked him down after releasing photos of him. Of the 2 other suspects, only one has been charged. A 13-year-old boy who told detectives he was in the park with the other teens but wasn't the one who stabbed Majors. Julie Walker, New York.
Coming up, a check on the roads, followed by the extended forecast together on the ones. 680 News Time, 650.
From finger painting to tiny stables, school's the start of a journey that can take kids anywhere. Our education system needs to evolve to reflect this journey, to prepare kids for the future, their future. So we're updating it to give kids the tools they need to support positive mental health, develop real-life skills, and prepare for what's next. So they're ready to rise to every test, during school and after. Learn how the government is improving your child's educational journey at ontario.ca/education for tomorrow. Paid for by the Government of Ontario.
It's Staples Boxing Day with our lowest prices of the year, starting December 25th online and December 26th in store. The first 30 customers in store get a free gift card. Save $70 on the SodaStream Fizzy, now just $49.99. $50 on the Powerbeats Pro wireless earphones, now just $279.99. And $60 on the Seagate 8TB expansion hard drive, now just $149.99. Plus, there's so much more. Get what you really wanted. Staples Boxing Day. Stores open early where permitted.
News Time, 651. Time for traffic and weather. Together on the ones, I'm your drive. Here's Collecting Jordan.
And this report brought to you by City TV.
I
Right
don't
now,
like that
patrolling
name.
on
Good name, but I don't
eastbound
like that name.
QEW, everything is looking good from Burlington over to Mississauga. The Gardner Expressway, the Don Valley Parkway looking good into and out of the downtown core. Southbound 400 approaching Tustin at the South Service en route. We've got the left lane shut down because of construction. If you're on the westbound 401, very slow here, Ontario to west of Mavis. Seen of earlier problems which have cleared. It's also very slow on the ramp from the westbound 401 to Trafalgar, and routes around the Toronto Premium outlets are very slow as well. Eastbound 401, that is slow east of Winston Churchill to Mavis. Again, from Islington to Weston, mainly in the Express, east of Jane in the Collectors, and the ramp to Dufferin, that is looking good. This is the ramp from the eastbound 401 to Dufferin. Not seeing any delays. However, lots of delays on the mall routes around Yorkdale, or even not moving at all. And if you're getting around on city streets, eastbound Finch at Young, police have closed the right lane, all because of an investigation. Breakfast Television returns for another fun-filled show on Friday. Till then, happy holidays from the BT gang. BT weekdays at 5:30 only on City TV. Your next traffic report at 7:01. Right now, let's get the forecast. Denise Andriacci.
Misty, drizzly, wet weather kind of scattered throughout the rest of tonight and early Friday. Temperatures are mild, near 10 degrees for a high Friday, but temps will fall throughout the afternoon. A few clouds and -3 Friday night. Sunny and +3 for Saturday, and then we are expecting some rain for Sunday. Highs near 9 degrees and up to 20 millimeters of rain through the day and also Sunday night. Your overnight low tonight, 4 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, we got some periods of light drizzle, 3 degrees, feels like -3 with the wind. Over at Pearson International Airport, similar conditions, 2 degrees, also feeling like -3 with that wind.
This extended forecast is brought to you by Cold Drops. One drop for temporary relief of sore throat and nasal congestion. Cold Drops are available at Metro pharmacies near you. This product may not be right for you. Always read and follow the label.
Coming up at 7 o'clock, the latest on a 53-year-old man, a resident charged with second-degree murder in connection with Peel Region's 28th homicide of the year. Police say he's now set to make a court appearance tomorrow following a hit-and-run around Sandwood Parkway in Bramalea on Christmas Day that took the life of a 51-year-old man. 680 News Time, 6:54.
This is your breaking news station, 680 News.
The Mercedes-Benz Oakville year-end winter sales event is on now. For a limited time, enjoy exceptional offers such as lease rates from 1.49%, finance rates from 0.49%, cash support up to $25,000, and 3 payments waived on us on select in-stock models. Plus, receive a special bonus offer with purchase available only at Mercedes-Benz Oakville. Visit our showroom today at the QEW and Dorval Drive in Oakville and use these generous offers to gift yourself a Mercedes-Benz this holiday season.
Traffic is always changing. Now more than ever.
Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day.
This is 680 News.
Ask for us on your smart speaker.
And coming up, we got some new milestones for Wall Street, including an 11-day rally for the NASDAQ. We'll get all the details in the 680 News Business Report with Mike Apple. 680 News Time, 6:55.
What fucking pages is it?
When you need to know, now.
680news.com.
Let's
Oh,
consider
loaded
for a
the
moment
entire
some
fucking
internet
phone.
holiday deals you might want to think about. Uranium ore, Madagascar hissing cockroaches, an umbrella hat. Or how about a great holiday deal you don't have to think about, like the Bring Home a Honda event. Lease the redesigned 2020 Honda CR-V LX for just $90 weekly at 4.99% and 0 down. Includes free lease for 60 months. Taxes extra at cchondaontario.com. Bring Home a Honda. No thinking required. Obstacles and mortgages go together like first dates and spaghetti. Especially if you've been through a bankruptcy, consumer proposal, or debt settlement. Remember the name Duga. Jaspreet Duga and his team have options for you. Alternative mortgages, private mortgages. Jaspreet Duga works for you, not the lenders. So you get the best terms and rates. Get started today at dugamortgages.ca. That's DHUGGA mortgages.ca. And tear down those obstacles. License 12880.
Put us on and find out what to wear. The best weather reports in the city every 10 minutes on 680 News.
It's now time for the 680 News Business Report brought to you by XAU.ca Gold Price. Here is Mike Apple.
All 3 of the major benchmark stock indexes on Wall Street posted gains today, also all at record highs. The best performer, the NASDAQ, on a percentage basis, gained close to 0.8% and closed above 9,000 for the first time ever. NASDAQ's on an 11-day winning streak, its longest in a decade, and has set records 10 consecutive trading sessions. An advance of 69 points today. Top performer, Amazon, up by 4%, as the e-commerce giant is celebrating record-breaking holiday sales for e-commerce companies. That tabulated by MasterCard in the U.S. That also helped Canada's Shopify to a gain for its U.S. stock listing of close to 4% today. And Shopify shares will surge when the TSX gets back to business tomorrow. We also saw Apple extend its 2019 rally
Technically, once the market opens, it's going to open at that
with a gain of 2%.
Unless they trade in Asia or something.
Apple was one of the top performers in the Dow, which advanced 105 points at 28,621, a record closing high. The NASDAQ picked up 16 points at 3,239. One of the few laggards on the day was Boeing, which dropped another % on more emails released by the company, the internal review of what went wrong with the development of the 737 MAX jets. When the TSX comes back to work Friday,
with all the new automatic controls,
by the commodity-related companies. As we saw gold today hit an 8-week high, up $11.
By the way, this plane will try to override what you're doing. That would be a nice little note to have.
Up by 15%. And the price for oil added 55 cents at 61.66, its closing high since September, as U.S. oil inventories fell by almost 8 million barrels, according to the American Petroleum Institute. We'll get the U.S. Department of Energy's update tomorrow. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
Oh my god. I can read, but I can't fucking look straight at the fucking screen, man.
KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate online at carsforkids.ca. That's cars with a K. Pickup is quick and easy. You'll benefit a child and get a maximum tax credit.
1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Hurry! If you want kids to donate for 2019.
Weather forecast you can bank on because they're clear off by more than 3 degrees.
You could win our growing cash jackpot. The 680 News Weather Guarantee. Enter online at 680news.com.
This Boxing Week at Rogers, you can unwrap more through the Wrap and Red event. That is more of our greatest offers of the year, like buy one, get one when you activate 2 lines for the Samsung Galaxy S10 and the Galaxy S10e. Infinite data you can share when you get them both on select 2-year Rogers Infinite plans. And more wireless listening with premium sound when you get a pair of Samsung Galaxy Buds free. Get twice the night with Samsung BOGO and free Galaxy Buds while quantities last during the Wrap and Red event. On now at Rogers.
Time now for the 680 News check of regional weather conditions out in Kitchener and Cambridge. In Cambridge, we have
18 billion,
periods of light rain, 2 degrees, feels like -2 with the wind. A bit further south, Brantford, overcast 3, but it feels like 0 with that wind. Checking on Haldimand County, overcast 5 degrees, feeling like 3 with the wind. In Woodstock, periods of light rain, 2 degrees, feeling like -1 with the wind. Right now in downtown Toronto, we got some periods of light drizzle, as well as 3 degrees, feels like -3 with the wind. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM Toronto. 680 News time on the tone. It's 7 o'clock.
Number 1 for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Good evening. It's Thursday, December 26th. I'm Lucas Castellano.
I'm Carl Garnish. Here's what's making news this hour.
Police are continuing to investigate the fatal hit and run on Christmas that claimed the life of a man. Video surveillance is circulating on social media, and one suspect is in custody.
Hill police are investigating after human remains were found in a wooded area of Highway 410.
Toronto police are investigating a possible robbery at gunpoint around Yonge and Finch.
The CBC defending itself after Donald Trump's cameo in Home Alone 2 was cut.
Canada beat the USA 104 games to open the World Juniors today, and tennis player Bianca Andreescu.
It is a fucking Christmas movie. I watched that in the fucking psych ward.
9,000 with its 10th
What was I doing
consecutive
there?
record high and 11-day winning streak.
I don't remember the Donald Trump. I don't remember seeing Donald Trump in it.
It's time for
On the basic cable they got hooked up, the channels repeat the movies over and over.
Here's Colin Desjardins.
And this report brought to you by the Air Miles Reward Program. Right now on the eastbound 401, we're seeing delays east of Winston Churchill to Mavis, and then Whitby east to Brook Street. The left lane is still blocked because of pothole repairs.
If I was seriously mentally ill, that would bother me.
Very, very slow.
They edit the movie and I don't remember. Are they changing the history?
Southbound 400, we had some construction approaching Teston. Right at the South Service en route, the left lane was blocked. The Gardner, the Donnelly Parkway still moving well into and out of the downtown core. The QEW looks good through Burlington, Oakville, and the Mississauga area. Right now, if you're traveling on the 403, that looks good through Mississauga. But if you're getting around on city streets, eastbound Finch at Yonge, the right lane is blocked for a police investigation. It's Boxing Week at Rona and Lowe's. Get 5 times the Air Miles Reward Miles on purchases of $100 or more before tax. Ends December 31st. Terms and conditions apply. Details in store. Your next traffic report at 7:11. Right now, let's get the forecast. Denise Andriacci.
Periods of drizzle tonight. We could see some fog patches redevelop through the overnight, kind of linger into Friday morning. Temperatures will be rather mild through the morning and early afternoon, and then they'll fall throughout the day. A high tomorrow near about 10 degrees, a few clouds, and -3 for Friday night. Your overnight low tonight, 4 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, we have periods of light drizzle, 3 degrees, feeling like -3 with the wind. Over at Pearson International Airport, similar conditions, 2 degrees, also feels like -3 with that wind. 680 News Time, 7:02.
A 53-year-old Brampton man charged with second-degree murder following a fatal hit-and-run last night. The victim, a 51-year-old man from Brampton, was found in life-threatening condition and later died in hospital. Peel police say the suspect's vehicle was discovered and he was later taken into custody, and now he's going to appear in a Brampton court tomorrow. 680's Brittany Dooley has the latest.
It happened late last night in the Sandalwood and Bramley area. A family in Brampton is now feeling the heavy impacts of losing a family member after a man was hit and killed by a car on Christmas Day. Police say it happened in a usually quiet residential area on Sunny Meadow Boulevard.
We do know who the victim is. We are in the process of notifying the next of kin, and once that's done, we'll be able to share further information on the victim.
Constable Akil Mukin says they have one suspect in custody. Earlier, an extremely graphic video seemingly captured from a surveillance camera was circling on social media. Police have yet to confirm if it is connected to the incident. Anyone with more information is being asked to come forward. I'm Brittany Dooley.
You're listening to All News Radio, 680 News at 7:04. Peel police are looking into the discovery of a body in Brampton. Officers responding to a call just after 4:30 this afternoon near Highway 410 and Beauvert Drive. Reports of an officer came across the remains while pursuing a suspect in connection with a collision in the area. Crews are trying to determine who the remains belong to. Roads were closed for an investigation, but we are now hearing from MTO that the ramps from the 410 to Beauvert are now open. You're listening to All News Radio, 680 News. Toronto police are investigating after a woman was robbed around Yonge and Finch. Apparently, two men wearing masks allegedly approached the woman just after 6 o'clock this evening, and police say they used a gun to rob her. They then fled the scene in an SUV. So far, police have a description for one suspect. He's being described as a white male in his 20s, around 5'7", wearing a black jacket. Any witnesses are being asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
Sell the SUV. Hustle something.
Homicide of the year has been identified. Toronto police got the call around 4:30 on Sunday afternoon for unknown trouble at 251 Sherbourne Street. That's just north of Dundas. It was there that police found a body of a man who was pronounced dead at the scene. There is no suspect information at this time. Anyone with information is being asked to come forward. 680 News Time, 7:05. Well, there may not be much time left, but you can still give it a try if you're looking to snag a Boxing Day deal. Yeah, buy some wallpaper, maybe get some flooring, stuff like that. Maybe check out the Well, maybe you didn't cross everything off your shopping list, or you want to return some of the things you didn't want. We'll be watching the malls to let you know when they'll be closing and how much time you have left. We're closing in less than an hour at 8 o'clock. Scarborough Town Center, Square One, and Air Mills will all be closing their doors. And if you're looking for that extra hour, you can head over to Bramalea City Center, Vaughan Mills, or Sherway Gardens. They're giving you until about 9. And if you're really hurting for some time to shop, maybe you're coming off your shift at work. If you had to work today, Yorkdale's done around 10 o'clock. Toronto Premier Outlet's holding out till 11. As well as like LCBO and beer stores are keeping their doors open. We have the TTC on a holiday schedule and Go Transit running on Saturday operations. 680 News Time, 7:06. The youngest Canadian team in World Junior Tournament history beat the U.S. 6-4 in their first game of the tournament today. Sportsnet 590 The Fans, Calamay has the details.
If the World Juniors give the national spotlight to the best junior hockey players on the planet this year, Canada's Alexis Lafreniere and Quinton Byfield might get extra attention as potential first overall picks at the next NHL draft. And in a 6-4 win for the Canadians over the USA on day one of the tournament, it was Lafreniere who sparkled with 1 goal and 3 assists. Byfield didn't pick up any points, but he's got plenty of tournament left. The Canadians play Russia on Saturday afternoon. Meantime, the Czechs, Swiss, and Swedes also won on Boxing Day. From Sportsnet 590 The Fan, I'm Calamay.
This is 680 News. We still have holiday ride campaigns in effect until about January 5th, and the OPP is taking a look back over the last 5 years to see the number of impaired driving charges that were laid across the GTA. Taking to Twitter, OPP Sergeant Kerry Schmidt announced that they laid around 7,520 impaired driving charges, and generally the number of charges dropped from about 2015 to 2019. So, about 5 years ago, we had 1,753 charges laid, and this year so far, 1,323, and over 2,200 collisions apparently were reported involving drugs or alcohol that have been investigated since 2016. And police are reminding you that if you see someone that you think might be driving impaired, call 911 right away.
A scary moment this morning when a 27-year-old woman was charged with impaired driving. Toronto police say when they stopped the vehicle in the back seat, they found the woman's 6-year-old child sleeping. Police say it was a Good Samaritan that called 911 to report the suspected impaired driver. The woman's blood alcohol levels were over twice the legal limit.
This is 680 News. It seemed to surprise many Canadians today when U.S. President Donald Trump was omitted from a CBC broadcast of Home Alone 2. 680's Meg Black joins us with more on the story.
The
The CBC is on the defense after cutting Donald Trump's cameo from Home Alone 2. The uncut scene in question includes child actor Macaulay Culkin when he walks into the Plaza Hotel, bumps into Trump, and asks him for directions to the lobby. The CBC said Trump's scene and others were cut from the film 5 years ago to make way for commercials. The edit was made back in 2014 when the broadcaster acquired the rights to the classic, 2 years before Trump was elected into the presidency.
The system is totally rigged and broken. The system is rigged.
President Trump has yet to speak on the matter, but that hasn't kept his family quiet. His eldest son,
I
Donald
want to
Trump
know what
Jr.,
Macaulay
pressed the
Culkin
story
thinks
into
of
the
it.
spotlight,
You're going to
condemning
dig
the
this
CBC
shit up.
by
Go way
retweeting
back.
criticism of his father's cameo being cut. I'm Meg Black.
I don't care what his kid thinks of it. His kid wasn't in the fucking
Brought to
movie.
you by Inline Fiberglass Windows. She was named Time Magazine Person of the Year. 680's Kenny Mason has more on Greta Thunberg in this year's review.
You all come to us young people for hope. How dare you?
The Swedish team would also make a trip to Alberta, including Calgary, to talk about climate change and, in her view, the lack of action being taken by politicians around the world. Alberta Energy Minister Sonia Savage welcoming Thunberg with open arms, calling it an opportunity for Greta to come here with an open mind, see our beautiful province, and learn how Albertans are proud to produce energy the world needs with the highest environmental, social, and governance standards. Yet not everyone was happy with the climate activists. A convoy of semis and other trucks would meet Greta in Edmonton. Thunberg did not directly attack Alberta's oil sands, but said we cannot allow this crisis to continue to be a partisan political question. The climate and ecological crisis is far beyond party politics. With the Year in Review, I'm Kenny Mason.
In just 30 seconds, we'll update you on the price at the pumps. 680 News Time, 7:09.
Celebrating the Festival of Lights. Happy Hanukkah from 680 News.
Need window inspiration? Then you need to speak to the experts. Hi, I'm Tom Rokiki of Inline Fiberglass Windows and Doors. Our window experts are experienced in working with architects, builders, and homeowners to ensure your vision becomes a reality. So whether you're replacing your old windows or building your dream home, dream the dream with Inline Fiberglass. If you can dream it, we can build it. Visit our Factory Direct showroom, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or inlinefiberglass.com.
Now for the 680 News gas price update. Pro predicts the price will not change at midnight, staying at $1.19.9 a liter at most GTA stations. 680 News Time, 7:10.
Hi, I'm Maureen Holloway. Boxing Week in Don Valley North Toyota is all about free winter tires. Today until December 31st, be one of the first 10 people each day to purchase or lease a new non-hybrid vehicle and get a free set of winter tires. Plus, lease rates from 0.49% or finance from as low as 0% on select models. Want free winter tires? It's time to Toyota. Deals just east of the 404.
Hi, it's Fido. Holiday deals are in full swing, and the fun continues with Boxing Week. Treat yourself to your order. The Samsung Galaxy S10 or A70 is at $0 on select 2-year plans. $0, never-ending fun. And go all out without going over, with data overage protection included on all new plans. Hurry up in store or at Fido.ca to discover more holiday deals. Conditions apply. Fido, go get it.
680 News Time, 7:11. It's time for traffic and weather together on the ones. With an eye on your drive, here's Colette Desjardins.
And this report brought to you by Sisley Honda. If you're on the eastbound 401, busy from Mississauga Road to Mavis. And don't forget, in Whitby, eastbound 401, east of Broad Street, left lane is blocked for pothole repairs until tomorrow. And
You said
if you're on
that
the westbound
yesterday.
401, finally easing off on the ramp from the westbound 401 to Trafalgar. That's
They
in
said
the
it was a
area of
sinkhole. They're
Premium
never going to
and
get it
Overhead.
filled.
Southbound 400 may still have construction approaching Tustin. Right at the South Service en route, the left lane was closed for that. You can always update me. A free traffic tip line, star 680. The Gardner, the Don Valley Parkway continue to be in great shape. Haven't heard of any problems on the 404 between the 401 all the way up to Newmarket. If you're on the QEW, everything is looking pretty good from Burlington into Mississauga. And Also, we have on city streets in the Brampton area, just getting word westbound Beauvais, west of the 410, a collision. Police should be on the scene. And we also have a police investigation on eastbound Finch at Young. They've shut down the right lane. Sisley Honda wants your family to love your car. Drop by 88 Steeles Avenue, just west of Young. Sisley Honda, they're family driven. Your next traffic report at 7:21. Right now, let's get the forecast. Denise Andriachi.
Misty, drizzly weather continues tonight with some fog patches developing after midnight. Temperatures are mild for Friday morning and then they'll fall throughout the day. Overnight lows Friday near -3. Some sunshine for Saturday and highs near +3. Your overnight low tonight, 4 degrees.
Current conditions in the city of Toronto right now. It's +3, light drizzle. It feels like -3 with that wind chill. And over at Pearson Airport, 3 degrees, feeling like 1. 6:30 news time, 7:13.
Joker, a meteor set to collide with our west coast in mere minutes. What do we do? Not to worry, Governor. I will simply fly around the Earth fast enough to reverse our polarity and turn back time. Joker away. You only taken 3 steps. Here I go. You're basically standing still. Can the Toka help innocent citizens breathe easier? Probably not. Find out why at thetokaonline.ca. Getting you where you need to go
Faster.
The most traffic in Toronto. 680 News.
Hey Sam, anything I should know before my trip to Asia? I just got back. You'll love it. Just remember that hepatitis A and typhoid fever can be spread through contaminated food and drink, even ice cubes. Think about getting vaccinated.
Help protect yourself from hepatitis A and typhoid fever in one shot. Ask your healthcare provider about Vivaxum. Vaccination does not provide 100% protection. Travelers should practice safe food and water precautions. Side effects and allergic reaction may occur. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist to see if Vivaxum is right for you, or visit sanofi.ca.
This is All News Radio. 680 News.
Light drizzle and 3 degrees. Good evening. From the 680 News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto, I'm Lucas Castelletto. Here are the top stories this hour. One man has died after he appeared to be intentionally hit by a car outside of a Brampton home. The incident happening in the evening hours on Christmas. Police say one arrest has since been made. And staying in Brampton, an investigation is underway after human remains were found near Highway 410 in Beauvais. And CBC confirming that Donald Trump's cameo was removed from Home Alone 2, Boston, New York. A spokesperson says it was done to make way for commercials. 680 News Time, 7:15.
So somehow this is going to come down on Trudeau. I just know it.
Time for 680 Sports.
If he just gave them $100 million fucking dollars.
Thanks, Lucas. The World Juniors began today in the USA.
He didn't stop him from running it with his cameo cut out. That's not
in the second period, and then Alexis Lafreniere scored the game winner in the third to help Canada to a 6-4 win. Lafreniere had 1 goal and 3 helpers. Guelph Storm netminder Nico Dawes made 28 saves. Canada plays Russia on Saturday afternoon. Other finals, the Czechs beat Russia 4-3. Switzerland topped Kazakhstan 5-3, and Sweden edged Finland 3-2. Keeping with hockey, Chicago Blackhawks defenseman Brent Seabrook will undergo surgery on his right shoulder and both hips, which will take him out for the rest of the season. Seabrook was struggling with a career low in minutes per game. And Bianca Andreescu has been named the Canadian Press Female Athlete of the Year. This adds to the tennis players' Lou Marsh Award for top Canadian athlete. Sports at 15 and 45, past every hour or anytime on the home of Tim and Sid. Now on radio and TV. Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
680 News Time, 7:16.
I'm going to read this shit. I said I would read it.
Some things just don't fit.
I can't find the first article about it, but they're trying to rip off pension plans. They're trying to rip off everybody. They're sick of deep.
That's right for you. Lease the 2020 Corolla L for as low as $58 weekly at 2.99%
They're all like
APR
fucking
for 52
gamblers.
months with $0 down, or finance at 0.49% APR for 36 months. Visit your local Ontario Toyota dealer or shoptoyota.ca. Some conditions apply.
We won't rest until all women are out of poverty. We won't rest until we get equal
All
pay for
women are
equal
going to
work.
rest. All women are out of poverty, eh?
We won't rest until harassment and violence stops. We won't rest until there is gender equality for all in Canada. We won't rest because we are the tireless. Take action. Support the Canadian Women's Foundation. Donate today at jointhetireless.ca.
This is your weather station, 680 News.
Amazon says Mariah Carey, Lady Gaga, and John Grisham were all on the wish lists of many holiday shoppers.
Just can't seem to get away from All I Want for Christmas Is You this holiday season. Amazon says the Mariah Carey classic has held the #1 spot on Amazon Music since Thanksgiving Day. That's one of the stats included in the online retail giant's just released holiday sales summary.
Here we go.
Lady Gaga's House Laboratories beauty line is among the bestsellers in the beauty category.
House
Also, John Grisham's latest
Laboratories
The Guardians was
beauty.
Amazon's
Oh, she's a
best-selling
freak
and most
anyway,
read book
right,
in the U.S. over the holidays. Christopher
Little
Watson,
monsters and all that
ABC
shit,
News.
right?
680 News Times 718. A young Florida woman is accused of trying to cash more than $500,000 in checks from her elderly husband's account. Here's ABC's Chuck Severston, who has the details.
Bails $1 million for a newly married 26-year-old Lynn Halfon in Tampa, Florida, accused of cashing over $600,000 in checks from her 77-year-old husband's account. Police say Halfon was arrested at Tampa International Airport. The Tampa Bay Times says court papers indicate that her husband, businessman Richard Rappaport, didn't know about the checks, but wanted to give his wife the benefit of the doubt. Rappaport's daughter says family members were unaware of the marriage. The wife's attorney says they look forward to providing additional facts about the case. Chuck Severson, ABC News.
The Syrian government's offensive against the last rebel strongholds in the country is drawing international concern. Reporter Ben Thomas of the Associated Press says the province of Idlib is dominated by al-Qaeda-linked militants, but it is also home to 3 million civilians.
A Syrian relief group says more than 200,000 men, women, and children have fled their homes in Idlib province in recent weeks, as the Syrian government's month-long aerial bombardment now leads to a ground offensive. The UN has warned of a potential humanitarian catastrophe, and President Trump tweets, "It's carnage, with Russia, Syria, and Iran killing or on their way to killing thousands." He adds, "Don't do it."
Trump addressed the plight of civilians in Idlib in June, accusing Russia, Syria, and Iran of killing them. Eat, drink, and be merry, but don't overindulge. If you consume too many salty foods and binge drink, Los Angeles-based cardiologist Lawrence O'Connor warns you can wake up in the morning with a rapid heartbeat. That's often diagnosed as atrial fibrillation, which he says 60% of binge drinkers suffer from at some point, raising the risk of a stroke.
Holiday heart syndrome occurs around this time of year when people drink alcohol in excess.
O'Connor says you can minimize the risk of holiday heart syndrome by minimizing your salt and alcohol consumption and not arguing with relatives. Coming up, traffic and weather together on the ones. 680 News Time, 720.
It's here. The Boxing Week Blitz at Aaronwood Ford. You'll get our amazing year-end price, plus our gift of up to $2,000 in Aaronwood bonus bucks.
People are trying to steal like $150 billion fucking dollars.
Stay up to $2,000 Aaronwood bonus bucks.
Michael's article was, yeah, I think this is it. Okay.
Aaronwood's famous Boxing Week Blitz is here. Get up to $2,000 in
Same
Aaronwood
fucking
bonus
guy in
bucks.
the
Shop
picture.
Aaronwood.com.
Yeah, okay.
My resolutions for 2020: shop smarter,
Yeah,
cook
this is
better,
the one I was
eat
looking for.
healthier, with
Alright,
good
I
food
read it
meal
already.
kits.
I'll have
I
to
get all
read
the
it
farm
second
fresh
time.
ingredients I
Fuck you.
need to cook delicious recipes, like seared salmon with almond pesto, from breakfast to dinner and everything in between. Good Food delivers for free and to my doorstep. With Good Food, I also save about 15% on grocery essentials, like olive oil, healthy snacks, and more. Drop the shop. Go to makegoodfood.ca now and get 40% off your first order. That's makegoodfood.ca.
News Time, 721. It's time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks. And this report brought to you by Hamilton International Airport. Well, most of the routes, the major routes around the Toronto area are actually moving nicely around the Toronto area. Now, eastbound 401, we still have a delay, Mississauga Road to Mavis. And if you're on the eastbound 401 in the east end of the city, east of Brock Street in Whitby, the left lane remains closed for pothole repairs. Southbound 400, thanks to traffic spotters reporting approaching Teston at the South Service en route. All lanes are open. Construction has wrapped up. And if you're in the Brampton area, just got off the phone with Peel Police. Yes, they still have a police investigation. What they've told me is westbound Boulevard from west of the 410 to approaching South Lake, the right lane is closed. So you have the left lane to get by, but it is slow in the area. A good area to to avoid the police investigation. No idea how long that will go. And eastbound Finch at Yonge, the right lane was closed for a police investigation, but getting word that that has cleared as well. This winter, escape the cold with flights to Cuba, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and Mexico, direct from Hamilton International Airport, your low-cost airport.
Low-cost airport.
Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriacci.
Fuck, we can get back to Toronto,
on and
though.
off throughout the rest of this evening, overnight, and even into Friday morning. We'll see some fog patches develop after midnight, kind of linger through the early part of Friday. Temps are mild to start tomorrow, and then we'll see temperatures fall throughout the day, down to -3 Friday night, sunny and +3 for Saturday. We're expecting periods of rain Sunday up to 20 millimeters. Very mild, highs near 9 degrees. Your overnight low tonight is +4.
Motherfucker, I'm
Light
gonna
drizzle
read them
falling
anyway.
right now in the city. It's currently 3 degrees, feeling like -2 with that wind chill. And over at Pearson International Airport, similar conditions, 12 degrees, or rather 3 degrees, feeling like -3. 680 News Time, 7:23.
Have you heard? TSC is celebrating Boxing Day every year
Not
from
any
now
of
until
these
New Year's
3
Eve.
minutes.
That means you can take advantage of the biggest markdowns of the year whenever you want without ever going outside.
Actually, that one I might not read. Hold on.
65% on
That
clearance
one's
items,
very
including
controversial.
fashion, jewelry, beauty, and home products. Plus, all electronics are available with 12 easy pay payments. You won't want to miss a beat during TSC's Boxing Week blowout. Now until New Year's Eve. Shop TSC.ca. Today's shopping choice.
Be the first to know. Breaking news as soon as it happens. 680 News. Traffic.
It's always changing. Now more than ever.
Listen 3, 4, 5 times a day.
This is 680 News.
Ask for us on your smart speaker.
Star Wars-style lasers could help future space missions to accurately pinpoint the location of space junk in Earth's orbit and avoid deadly collisions. The new detection technique improves on current methods by around 1,500 times and works by employing a neural networks that mimic the human brain. Networks are computer models of the human brain's sensory inputs, processing, and outputs. The approach can detect debris as small as 3 feet wide and allow courses to be plotted to avoid them. In just 60 seconds, we'll head to the business
So
center
here's my
with an
head.
update from Mike Apple.
Here's about 3
680 News
feet.
Time,
That's about 3 feet. Here's the size of my head.
Holiday season, have you noticed how some
I don't
homes
think this system's going to save nothing.
Take a look around. It's probably the lighting.
It takes something the size of like a marble to smash the fucking window apart.
So why not take advantage of the unbelievable Boxing Week event on now at Lando Lighting, where everything is on sale. You don't want to miss this sale. Up to 50% off selected items. For a massive lighting selection and deep discounts, go now to 210 Clarence Street, Brampton.
Hello. Hi, it's Max, professional dream coach.
Oh,
Is this
that's
the
why I
guy that
didn't read
dreams
this
about never
one.
doing
Right,
yard work
okay.
again? Yeah. Well, Automax now has draws on Tuesdays and Fridays. So let's bigify that dream. You mean I can hire a landscaper? Go bigger, get a
Fuck,
giant
maybe I only have
infinity
like
pool,
four.
a hot tub, a sauna.
Right.
I'll finally have the nicest yard on the block. Take that, Frank! Automax now has draws Tuesdays and Fridays, plus even bigger jackpots. Why dream to the min when you can dream to the max?
Weather.
It's all about the numbers. And if we're off by more than 3 degrees,
You can win our cash jackpot.
a number that continues to grow.
Enter at 680news.com.
680 News Time, 7:26. Now with the business report, here's Mike Apple.
Technology stocks continue to be outperformers. And Thursday's trading, as Wall Street got back to work after just a one-day break,
We've
with
seen this
record
come
highs for
before.
all 3 of the major benchmark stock indicators. The NASDAQ is up for 11 days in a row, and 10 of those have been record highs, closing above 9,000 for the first time ever in today's trade, 9,022, up by 62 points. The Dow Jones added 105 points. The S&P 500 up 16, with shares of Apple up by close to 2%, extending its best year in about a decade with a gain of 83% for 2019. The share price at $289 and change US today. We also saw Amazon up 4%.
Anything over $100,
what is
don't buy
expected
it.
to be
There's something wrong with that.
record-breaker
There should
for
be a stock
e-commerce.
split or something.
Sales
Something
activity
wrong
in the
with that
holiday
story.
shopping season. And Shopify from Ottawa will benefit tomorrow on Bay Street as its U.S. listed shares today jump by 3.8%. So that company provides the e-commerce supports and software for many of the biggest players in the industry. Retail stocks will be in the spotlight over the course of the next week. Looking at some of the best performers this year, at the top of the list is Target with a 2019 gain of 94%. Best Buy's up 66%. Costco up by 44%. The worst performers for the year, Macy's down 46%, and The Gap down by 31%. Price for oil hit its highest since September in today's trade, up 64 cents on the NYMEX quote, 61.75. Gold advanced $11.20 at $1,516, and that's an 8-week high for the precious metal. We saw electronic trading on the Canadian dollar, which settled at 76.25 cents U.S. The TSX resumes trade Friday with a record high, 17,180 is where it closed on Christmas Eve, up by 54 points. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
First, your disability insurer denies your long-term disability claim, and then your employer threatens to fire you if you don't return to work. Sound familiar?
Okay, this is December 23rd. The other one's like today, I think, or yesterday. RCMP denied media report they were prepared to shoot Indigenous activists at Coastal GasLink pipeline protest. The RCMP are challenging a recent report that said its members were prepared to shoot Indigenous activists at a January 2019 protest in northern BC, saying it has found no documents or references that support that and other assertions in the report. The RCMP statement released Monday was made in response to an article in the British-based Guardian last week that said Canadian police were prepared to shoot protesters and that RCMP commanders told officers to, quote, use as much violence toward the gate as you want, end quote, in relation to a roadblock at the site. The article was in relation to a protest where police enforced a BC Supreme Court injunction to clear a blockade that was built to protest the Coastal GasLink pipeline. The proposed $6.6 billion Coastal GasLink pipeline would transport natural gas from northeast BC to a new $18 billion export terminal. So remember, 6.6 plus 18 plus 4.5. There's a bunch of fucking steps, a big fucking stacks of money we're talking about here. The proposed $6.6 billion Coastal GasLink pipeline would transport natural gas from northeast BC to a new $18 billion export terminal being built in coastal Kitimat, and it has been opposed by some Indigenous and environmental activists. At least they didn't call us eco-terrorists this time. The report published Friday refers to documents it described as notes from a strategy session. You're missing an apostrophe, motherfuckers. In its initial response, that's how many of those? I swear they're putting those in on purpose to see if we're paying attention. In its initial response Friday, the RCMP said it had asked to see the documents referenced in the Guardian article before it was published, but was denied. Denied, yeah, it makes you sound official. And had not had the opportunity to determine, quote, in what context any of the alleged statements may have been made or by whom, end quote. On Monday, the force went further, saying it had since looked for any references that would back up assertions in the report, but to date hadn't found any. Quote, the RCMP has commenced a review of all documents relating to the enforcement of the court-ordered injunction and to date can find no documents or references which reflect statements made in the Guardian article, the RCMP statement says. They said the article, this is Guardian to clarify, just so you don't think the RCMP name dropped the newspaper, they didn't. Whatever the source, the assertions made in the article do not in any respect reflect the spirit and intent of the direction of the RCMP commanders charged with planning and carrying out the court's direction, nor does it reflect what actually occurred, the statement added. The RCMP called the report, quote, unsubstantiated, incomplete, and inflammatory, and said it had damaged relationships between police and Indigenous communities. Oh, the report did that. We could talk for hours about that. And the report did not. The report is calming me down ever so slightly, because now I don't have to repeat this story. In a statement, a spokesperson with The Guardian said, quote, the article in question is a carefully considered and researched piece by Will Parrish and Jaskaran Dillon. I don't know who these people are. The records seen by The Guardian emerged during court proceedings in British Columbia. We are confident that it is factually correct and stand by the story. The Guardian's independent reader's editor is satisfied with the accuracy of our interpretation of lethal overwatch. I'm not sure what that means, except to kill people, to set out on purpose to kill people, I guess. Overwatch, I don't know, man. On Monday, federal NDP safety critic Jack Harris called on the Canadian government to conduct a, quote, full and independent investigation and inquiry into police strategies and tactics used at the January protest. Quote, I trust that you were as disturbed as I was to read that senior members in the chain of command of the RCMP had discussed such extreme violence in response to a civilian protest, Mr. Harris said in a Monday letter to Public Safety Minister Bill Blair. Yeah, fuck you, Bill Blair. These guys are getting paid for fucking for being on the boards of cannabis companies, drawing like 2-3 times as much money as they made as cops, where they took the hardest line possible on marijuana at every opportunity they had. Public Safety Minister. He's also the isn't he the no, never mind. The fucking OPP sergeant becomes a fucking announcer, whatever, for the fucking TV news. This province is fucked up. We are committed to protect, quote, we are committed to protecting the constitutional right to peaceful protest and are concerned by the unacceptable words and phrases that the Guardian reported were used. Scott Bardsley, a spokesman for the minister, said in an email. He added that Mr. Blair's office has raised the matter with the RCMP. Did he use the words Indian problem? In a separate request, NDP MP for Skeena Bulkley Valley, Taylor Backrack, like a German Backrack, I don't want to know, man, on Friday asked the Civilian Review and Complaints Commission to conduct an independent review of the RCMP's planning and actions related to the protests. Carla Tate, Director of Programming at the Unistoten Healing Lodge near the site of the protest, and a spokeswoman for some of the protesters on Monday said a federal inquiry would be appropriate given that the RCMP is funded with public money and has a duty to protect all members of the public, including Indigenous people. Okay, so that was December 23rd. And that was the Coastal GasLink pipeline protests. December 26th, a day which I didn't realize, but the markets are closed today in Canada, apparently. I didn't know that. I didn't know they would close for Boxing Day. I don't know if that's new. I knew Christmas Day, but I thought they were open the next day. I'd never thought about it. But we've been hearing all day they're closed today. So that was the 23rd or whatever. This is the 26th. TC Energy, that's the new name of TransCanada. TransCanada Pipelines changed their name to TC Energy or some shit. It doesn't matter. It's all the same call. It's all the same bunch of guys sitting at the same table laughing. Okay, December 26th, TC Energy, and you already know this if you were listening. TC Energy to sell a 65% stake in its Coastal GasLink pipeline, so 2/3, let's say. We're talking $6.6 billion. Sale to KKR, I hope it says what that means. And Alberta Investment Management Corporation, AIMCO, remember that one, is expected to close in early 2020. TC Energy has agreed to sell a 65% stake in its Coastal GasLink pipeline project, keyword project, to private investment firm KKR and Alberta Investment Management Corporation, AIMCO, the company announced Thursday. The company said alongside the completion of the sale, it will enter into secured financing with a syndicate of banks. A syndicate, that's a good word. That is the correct word, Mr. or Mrs. Editor. Or it, whatever. The company said alongside the completion of the sale, it will enter into secured financing with a syndicate of banks to fund up to 80% of the $6.2 billion project's construction. I don't know what they're securing it against. I don't think they technically own the land. They just get the right. They get like an easement across the land. But I don't know. Secured by stock or some shit. I don't know. Quote: we look forward to establishing a long-term relationship. See, that just said 6.2, but the other one says 6.6. But it's $6 billion. It's a shitload of money. quote, "We look forward to establishing a long-term relationship with KKR and Aimco as we advance this critical energy infrastructure project." It's critical now. This gas isn't being piped across Canada. It's being, well, I think they get to that part, yeah. Russ Girling, president and CEO of the Calgary-based company, said in an emailed release. In January, TC Energy, then TransCanada Corp, okay, had announced it had hired RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, to help reduce its some of these abbreviations, some of these acronyms, they tell us what it means, and some of them they don't. They all know what RBC is, damn it. Had hired RBC to help reduce its interest, again, an apostrophe, damn it, to help reduce its ITS. What is ITS? To help reduce its interest in, damn it, its interest in the project to between 28 and 49%. It's making me have a facial tick, I swear to God. I wasn't even going to light another cigarette, but it's that apostrophe thing. I don't know how you don't see it. You never see IT and S together. Is there a company? Like, there might be like a company out there, but it would be capital letters. It pisses me off. I'm going to read that part again. In January, TC Energy, then TransCanada Corp, had announced it had hired RBC to help reduce its interest in the project to between 25 and 49%. The proposed keyword there, 670-kilometer pipeline will carry natural gas from the Dawson Creek area of northeastern BC to LNG Canada's planned $40 billion export facility in Kitimat. Okay, that's this $40 billion facility. Somewhere I just read 18, but whatever. It has been met with opposition from the Wet'suwet'en Nation, whose territory the pipeline crosses. And that's all unceded land. And no one wants to think about this, but the Union of BC Indian Chiefs has not been dealing with Europeans for all that long. Like 150, 200 years. They don't give a fuck about the government of Canada. They ain't never ceded shit. They ain't sell shit. They're still out there in the woods. The company has said $620 million. That's a shitload of money, eh? $620 million of the pipeline project's budget will go to contracts for Indigenous companies, and that the project will create 2,500 jobs over 4 years of construction. That's doubtful. It will transport 2.1 billion cubic feet of natural gas per day. These companies are notorious for inflating those numbers. The whole purpose of a pipeline is to eliminate trucks and trains, so you just eliminate as many human beings in the supply chain as possible. TC Energy said in conjunction with this sale, it will also give 20 First Nations it's working in partnership with a chance to acquire a 10% equity interest in the project. Construction on the project started in January 2019. Yeah, technically construction has started. The sale is expected to close in the first half of next year. Somewhere up here it said January. No, it said early 2020. So 6.2 billion. And they get this number of 620 million. So you've got people fighting over that 620 million. I just want to see something. 44. Okay, this. Yeah, okay, the article I just read said 18 billion. I'm going to go with 44 billion because I keep seeing both numbers. And something tells me there's a reason they're using such a high number. So 36. It's more than double. So remember, the 26th, so that was Monday. So it seems very forthcoming to release it. You got 2 business days ahead of you. And then this one gets released 1:16 p.m. on Boxing Day, when apparently the markets where these companies trade are closed. I'm not even sure if these are publicly traded. I'll have to look that shit up, but it's not even the fucking point. But this one says $6.6 billion pipeline, and the terminal's $18 billion. This one doesn't give a time, just a fucking date, the 23rd. So I don't think that pipeline's gonna get built because people keep fucking laying down and sitting in front of it and standing in front of it. Oh, we're gonna put pipes here, and everybody knows where the pipes are gonna go, so the people get in front of it. The cops come with guns. We all know they're prepared to shoot at people for no good reason, but this apparently means they wrote that down somewhere. Somebody wrote that down somewhere. Okay. 1, 2, 3 about the teachers' fund. I'll just read this one as kind of an update. Financial Post. This shit doesn't go in the civic section of the paper. It goes in the business section. Financial Post, which is like a section of the fucking National Post, right? So this goes back to December 2nd, but Trans Mountain, this is a different pipeline, but this one exists technically, but they have not built. They want to double, triple up the capacity, and they have not actually done that yet, but they somehow sold this proposal to the government, who paid them $4.5 billion after they costed it what they spent so far at $500 million. I don't know how the fuck they did that. This is while Trudeau's in power, and this gets complicated, man. I don't know how the fuck he did that when he's claiming to be environmental, green, all this shit. Trans Mountain construction set to begin in Alberta with pipe in the ground before Christmas. Calgary, after years of delays, pipeline construction is ready to begin on the Trans Mountain expansion project. Large diameter green pipes that will carry oil from Alberta to the British Columbia coast, and I don't know why they're doing that if they're trying to get the oil to Texas. This does not make sense to me. Have been stockpiled at various points along the path of the Trans Mountain expansion project since the summer. The Financial Post has now learned that crews are preparing to start construction work on the controversial pipeline in Alberta. Yeah, they're not starting at the BC yet. Trans Mountain spokesperson Ali Hounsell confirmed there would be, quote, pipe on the ground, end quote, with the intention of putting, quote, pipe in the ground before Christmas, end quote. She said an event was planned for Tuesday to mark the beginning of right-of-way construction on the pipeline project. The Trans Mountain expansion project is considered critical infrastructure, yeah, it depends who you ask, for landlocked oil producers in Alberta keen to expand their customer base beyond the United States. The 590,000 barrels per day expansion would raise the pipeline's capacity to 890,000 barrels per day, enabling more shipments to Asia's energy-hungry markets. I'm not so sure how that works. So, yeah, so almost exactly tripling capacity. Okay, I was close. In June, the Financial Post reported that large stockpiles of green-coated pipelines have been amassed at yards in the BC towns of Vavenby, Hope, and Kamloops, and preparatory work has been ongoing in Valemount. I don't fucking know. Crews have also been working for months at the West Ridge Marine Terminal in Burnaby, BC, where oil from the Trans Mountain pipeline will eventually be loaded onto ships for export. Quote, we have received more than half of the pipe needed for construction and are staging it at storage yards along the route, the company had told the Financial Post in an email in November, adding that the 2,200 workers had already been hired. Quote, our contractors have been ordering and receiving equipment, surveying and staking, and doing everything possible to be ready to start construction in the other areas as soon as possible, end quote. Over 90% of Canada's oil exports, oil and gas is the country's largest export category, are currently shipped to the United States, with the majority of those exports going to the U.S. Midwest refining markets. The Trans Mountain pipeline offers much-needed diversification for the industry. This is the only business in the world where reducing the supply makes the price drop. I've never heard of this before. They're insisting that they can't sell enough to get the price to go up, and I don't understand what that means. Quote, I don't think the sentiment was that starting construction in Alberta was the bottleneck. What? GMP First Energy Analyst, what? Michael Dunn said, adding that much of the oil patch is looking to see construction in parts of BC. What? Still, construction work on the pipeline would be incrementally positive for the sector that has been starved for pipeline access, Dunn said. The project still has a few regulatory hurdles to overcome, with the Federal Court of Appeal scheduled to hear additional challenges to the pipeline approvals in December. Houston-based Kinder Morgan Inc. sold the Trans Mountain Pipeline System and Expansion Project. You've heard that name before, Kinder Mountain. I just think it's funny they call it Trans Mountain, but they're not Trans Canada. They're Kinder Morgan. So you would think they would trademark that or something. Houston-based Kinder Morgan Inc. sold the Trans Mountain Pipeline System and Expansion Project to Ottawa in 2018 for $4.5 billion after multiple regulatory challenges and entrenched opposition from the government of BC. They did that. They did that. What the fuck? All three active oil pipeline projects out of Canada, including the Trans Mountain Expansion, Enbridge Inc.'s Line 3 Replacement Project, and TC Energy Corp's Keystone XL pipeline, have faced multi-year delays and regulatory challenges. However, those lines are now inching closer to either construction or operation, easing crippling bottlenecks that have forced Canadian producers to fetch a discounted price for their commodity compared to global benchmarks. Now, that does not make sense to me. Crippling bottlenecks means you can't sell it at a cheaper price. You just have to wait. I don't understand that. On Sunday, Enbridge placed the $5.3 billion Canadian portion of its Line 3... Fuck! Apostrophe. Damn it. On Sunday, Enbridge placed the $5.3 billion Canadian portion of its Line 3 pipeline project into service. The company continues to face delays in Minnesota for the construction of the U.S. portion of the pipeline, which will replace an aging pipeline currently in place. Enbridge used to have a name, Consumers Gas. That made sense. Enbridge is the energy bridge to the future. I swear to God, that's what it stands for. It is so stupid. I don't want to ever have to buy gas from these people because of the name. You would think I would have all sorts of other reasons first, and the name is first. I knew things were going to go bad for that company once that happened. Enbridge had been calling for oil companies to fill the line up. Enbridge had been calling for oil companies to fill the line up over the course of November and began deliveries from December. The initial increase in total pipeline capacity of Western Canada is just 10,000 barrels per day, but the company said it had a number of other optimization projects in the works that will result in a total of 100,000 barrels per day of new pipeline capacity by the end of 2019. So I didn't know Enbridge was mentioned at the very end of that article. I read like 3/4 of that. I didn't read the whole thing. I just caught myself. I didn't read the whole fucking thing, apparently. I got 3 more of these motherfuckers.
$100 or more before tax. So, if you forgot to get your loved ones those power tools they really wanted for Christmas, awesome! Or that electric fireplace.
Remember, Alberta, BC, and then the federal government, Ottawa, Houston-based Kinder Morgan, they just basically divested themselves of Canada. They took the money and ran. I would have too. I give you $5, you give me $45? Let's do it.
Celebration. But I especially love our yearly Chesterfield Shop Boxing Week sale, where we chop the prices on thousands of our best sofas, sofa beds, sectionals, and chairs. All the best from the Chesterfield Shop every day, but especially right now.
great Boxing Week specials all week long in North York, Newmarket, Mississauga, Scarborough, and Midtown Toronto.
It's the news time, 7:51. Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks. And this traffic report is brought to you by 407 ATR. Speaking of the 407, it looks good across the city both ways. Same with the 401 right now. Eastbound 401, however, east of Brock Street, the left lane blocked for pothole repairs. Otherwise, the rest of the major routes
Fridge
in
door.
pretty
I'm
good shape.
thinking fridge
However,
door. There's going to be a fridge door in the fucking road.
yes, it is slow from the 4th line to east of Dorval. That's where we have the HOV lane and the left lane blocked with the collision. Emergency crews are on the scene, so things are really getting backed up. And just keep in mind, if you're in the Brampton area, westbound Beauvais, from west of the 410 to approaching South Lake Boulevard, the right lane remains closed for a police investigation. 407 ATR traffic experts study driving patterns all year round to ensure a smooth ride 365 days a year. Visit 407atr.com. Your next traffic report at 8:01. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriachi.
Misty, drizzly, wet weather kind of scattered throughout the rest of tonight and early Friday. Temperatures are mild, near 10 degrees for a high Friday, but temps will fall throughout the afternoon. A few clouds and -3 Friday night. Sunny and +3 for Saturday, and then we are expecting some rain for Sunday. Highs near 9 degrees and up to 20 millimeters of rain through the day and also Sunday night. Your overnight low tonight, 4 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, periods of light drizzle, 3 degrees, feels like -2 with the wind. Over at Pearson International Airport, similar conditions, 2 degrees, also feeling like -2 with that wind.
This extended forecast is brought to you by Scotia iTrade. Direct invest with Scotia iTrade. Get up to $1,500 cash and $6.99 pricing or up to 500 free equity trades. Details at scotiaitrade.com/winter20.
Coming up at 8 o'clock, the latest on a 53-year-old man now set to appear in court tomorrow in connection with Peel Region's 28th homicide of the year. Police have
I want to know about the Toronto dumpster fire body. Tell me.
The life of a 51-year-old man.
It's not even on the fucking internet.
7:53.
We make sure you're the first to know.
I bet if I went back and visited those links, the pages would be gone. We don't want to talk about that shit.
Don't worry. Hi, I'm Sean from New Balance Toronto, and we're gearing up for our Boxing Day blowout. From December 26th to January 12th, we're giving you the best prices of the year. Save up to 50% off footwear, apparel, and accessories. With deals like these, it's the perfect time to try something new or just stock up on the styles you love. New Balance Toronto, your fit specialist.
I'm going to read the other three. I'm going
Conditions apply. See store for details.
Now you can listen to 680
billions,
News on your
billions of
phone.
dollars. That's not the only, the billions I mentioned is not all the money. There's more. There's fucking more. You got to catch the drift.
Player Canada app.
In the car, tune in using Radio Player on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Radio Player Canada. It's where Canadian radio plays.
Listening to 680 News, well, Amazon is now out with a summary of their holiday bestsellers.
Just can't seem to get away from All I Want for Christmas Is You this holiday season. Amazon says
I don't know exactly what Amazon sells, but I would guess what they sold the most of.
since Thanksgiving Day. That's one of the stats included in the online retail giant's just released holiday sales summary.
Here we go.
Lady Gaga's House Laboratories beauty lines among the bestsellers in the beauty category. Also, John Grisham's latest.
That makes sense to me. Those two girls that just got the 20 million whatever from Target or whoever the fuck it was don't make sense to me.
Coming up in 60 seconds, the record rally continued on Wall Street with the NASDAQ higher for an 11th day in a row. We'll get the details in the 680 News Business Report with Mike Apple. 680 News Time, 7:55.
Ready for super Boxing Day savings? Canada Computers is having a massive Boxing Day sale December 26th to January 2nd. Check out deals like LG Smart 4K TV for $649.99. Free LG soundbar worth $149.99 with this purchase. Team 128GB USB 3.0 flash drive for $999. MSI 27-inch optics full HD gaming monitor for $259.90. For the nearest location, visit CanadaComputers.com. Limit one per customer while quantities last.
Snort it off. If I lick it off, my fingers will stick to the paper.
Seize the season with Porter Airlines' special offer called NYC Winter Outing. This offer includes 2-for-1 tickets to top attractions and Broadway shows, plus prefix deals at the best restaurants. Make it happen January 21 through February 9. Booking your flight to New York City with Porter Airlines. Visit flyporter.com/NY. Porter, flying refined.
Fuck, why isn't it dead?
680 News Time, 7:56. It's now time for the 680 News Business Report. Here's Mike Apple.
TC Energy is selling a majority stake in the Coastal GasLink
Tell
natural
us
gas
all the
pipeline.
story, though.
Alberta's public pension manager, Alberta Investment Management Corp, is teaming up with New York-based private equity firm
AIM Corp, we'll get to that.
to buy a 65% stake in that pipeline, expected to cost about $6.6 billion. Now, the official terms of the deal have not been disclosed, but the deal being seen as a positive signal for the project being constructed to ship
Basically,
northeastern
$3+
BC gas to
billion
the
US
LNG Canada
dollars.
liquefied natural gas project.
It's going to change hands.
The project still, though, faces opposition from environmentalists and local indigenous communities. We have the price for oil.
Oh, just the local indigenous communities, eh? Fuck.
Futures up by more
You
than
don't know how to
60
use
cents
the
a barrel,
internet or
north
nothing,
of
eh?
$60.50 US. As oil is seeing a late year rally, bolstered by falling US oil inventories. The American Petroleum Institute report showed almost 8 million fewer barrels of supply in the pipeline system over the past week. Gold today hit its highest level in 8 weeks, up $11 at $1,516 an ounce. All the major benchmarks on Wall Street hit records today, led again by the tech-heavy NASDAQ. Details from Bloomberg News.
The day after Christmas brought big gains to Wall Street. Technology led the way as the NASDAQ topped 9,000 for the first time. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 106.
I haven't been paying attention to the American markets at all to know what those numbers mean. I don't know what the good numbers are for the NASDAQ and the S&P
lost
500.
more than 8.5%. Rival Nutrisystem announced new personal weight loss plans for 2020. The management shakeup continues at Boeing. Former General Counsel Michael Ludwig is retiring. He had been
I want you to keep
former
those
CEO
guys.
Dennis Muilenburg
Use all the money you
this
don't
week.
spend
A
on
legal
paying
matters
them
related
off
to two fatal 737 MAX crashes.
forensically analyze every fucking engineer and wrench-turning motherfucker and calculator motherfucker that you got working for you. Figure out which one of these idiots approved you.
Transform Canada's wonderland into the world of
Millions of them.
I'm not afraid of flying in planes. I just won't get in those planes. There's a slight difference there.
More lights to keep the live shows and family rides.
Hurry for magical molasses from the world of Canada's Wonderland's Winterfest. Select dates through December 31st. Don't miss the final days of Winterfest. Open
That
daily
motherfucker
Thursday
fucking
through
bit me,
December
right?
31st. Save on tickets at canadaswonderland.com.
But it ran, which means my blood cells exploded in its face.
Bone-chilling thriller. City TV's got you with
That's why I was
Lincoln
surprised
Rhyme for
he
the Bone
bit me.
Collector. Now, who is Lincoln
I
Rhyme?
usually
He's a
don't,
retired
ever.
forensic criminologist obsessed with the pursuit of a diabolical serial killer known only as, you guessed it, the Bone Collector. He needs to rely on NYPD officer Amelia Sachs to be his eyes and ears. It all starts in January, and believe me, it's gonna be tense. Lincoln Rhyme Hunt for the Bone Collector starts January 10th on City
These are little
TV.
motherfuckers that put holes in
Time
paper.
now for the
They
680
don't
News
do
check of regional weather conditions out in Oshawa. Periods of rain at times, cloudy skies, 2 degrees feels like -3 with the wind. Pickering seeing similar conditions, 1 feels like -4. And Uxbridge is no exception to the north, seeing some periods of rain at times, 2 degrees feels like -3 with the wind. Right now in downtown Toronto, we got periods of light drizzle, 3 degrees feeling like -2 with the wind. The News Watch never stops. 680 News at CFTR AM Toronto, 680 News time, 8 o'clock.
Number one for breaking news, traffic, and weather. This is 680 News, Toronto.
Good evening. It's Thursday, December 26th. I'm Lucas Castellano. I'm Carl Garnish. Here's what's making news this hour.
Police are continuing to investigate the fatal hit and run on Christmas that claimed the life of a man. Video surveillance is circulating on social media, and one suspect
Can't do nothing around nice houses. They all got cameras, man.
Brampton after human remains were discovered near the 410.
Well, they might as well. Every third or fourth house can see up the street, so they don't all need to have
The
them.
CBC experiences the wrath of Trump supporters after cutting out the U.S. president's Home Alone 2 cameo.
One game in, and Canada has their first win at the World Juniors with a 6-4 final over the
Not even Home Alone. It's Home Alone 2. It shouldn't even count.
Underway. Sports at 15.
They didn't give him a cameo in the first fucking movie.
Stock indicators on Wall Street, including NASDAQ, above 9,000. Business.
I know what happened. He saw the first movie and he was like, give me in this sequel I hear you're making.
On the ones with Toronto's most frequent traffic reports, here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks, and this report brought to you by UNICEF. Canada. Right now, if you're on the eastbound QEW, east of Dorval, we've got the HOV lane, we've got the left lane and the right lane blocked, all because of a collision that's in the HOV lane. Emergency crews are blocking lanes as well. So the backup is from approaching the 4th line. What I would do is get off at 3rd line, head south down to Spears, and then take eastbound Spears, get back on the eastbound QEW from Trafalgar. It will save you a bit of time. Other than that, the rest of the major routes are in pretty good shape. Eastbound 401 in Whitby, east of Brock Street, we've got the left lane blocked for pothole repairs until tomorrow, so no delays through that area. The Gardner, the Don Valley Parkway in great shape right now, into and out of the city. And if you're traveling on the 403, no problems at all in the Hamilton area or even the Mississauga area. If you're in Brampton, don't forget that westbound Beauvert from west of 410 to approaching South Lake Boulevard, the right lane remains closed for a police investigation. Millions of children worldwide are in urgent need of nutritious food, safe water, medicine, and education. Give by December 31st, and your gift will be doubled.
I'll remember it out of the fucking blue at like 4 in the fucking morning.
Your next traffic report at 6:11, or rather 8:11. Now let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Henry.
Periods of drizzle tonight. We could see some fog patches redevelop through the overnight, kind of linger into Friday morning. Temperatures will be rather mild through the morning and early afternoon, and then they'll fall throughout the day. A high tomorrow near about 10 degrees, a few clouds, and -3 for Friday night. Your overnight low tonight, 4 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, periods of light drizzle, 3 degrees, feels like -2 with the wind. Over at Pearson International Airport, similar conditions and 2 degrees. 6:80 news time, 8:03.
Peel Regional Police say a 53-year-old man has been arrested and charged with second-degree murder in connection with the region's 28th homicide of the year. He is expected to appear before a Brampton courtroom tomorrow.
680's Brittany Dooley has the details on the deadly hit and run around Sandalwood Parkway in Bramalea just before midnight.
I think that's 100th of a penny worth of steel.
Sunny Meadow Boulevard is in a residential neighborhood that is
paper's
usually
worth more if I
quiet.
collect
Now
it all.
a family is dealing with the unspeakable after a man was killed in a hit and run just outside a home. Constable Akil Mukin says the homicide unit has taken over the investigation.
I know our officers have canvassed the areas and the homes surrounding the area for surveillance as well as witnesses. I don't know what exactly they have in terms of evidence, but again,
You caught the fucking guy that did it. You must have fucking seen something.
because we do want to protect any future court proceeding.
A witness in the area says that a couple was out for a walk when they saw the victim. He was found bleeding from his nose and had a broken leg. Shortly after being transported to hospital, he was pronounced dead. Now police are working
I
on
had 4
notifying
undercover
next
cops
of
say the
kin.
craziest
I'm
thing to me
Brittany
once.
Investigators, meanwhile, are looking into the discovery of human remains in Brampton. Officers responding around 4:40 this afternoon near Highway 410 and Beauvert Drive. Reports claim that an officer came across the remains while pursuing a suspect in connection to a collision in the area. Crews say it is a full body, no age or gender has been given at this time. Officers have begun to look through missing person reports.
$2 bet. Did they catch the guy they started off chasing? Because they didn't tell us that they caught him.
Suspects following a potential robbery at gunpoint around Young and Finch. Officers responded to reports that a woman was approached by 2 men wearing masks just
This is
after
some
6
pussy
this evening,
shit,
who apparently used a gun to rob her. They then fled in an SUV. Now, police say one suspect has been described so far as a white male in his 20s, around 5'7". He was wearing a black jacket.
That's a million
Witnesses are being asked to
fucking
contact
people,
police
man.
or Crime Stoppers.
680 News Time, 8:05.
That's
The CBC is defending itself
Steve.
after U.S. President Trump.
Steve, the 5'7" white guy. You got Royce, the 5'9".
For airing a version of Home Alone 2
You
with
got
his father's cameo.
Aboriginal.
Today's Meg Black joins
Could
us
be
with
fucking
more.
anything.
The CBC is in hot water after U.S. President Trump was cut from a scene in Home Alone 2. In the uncut version, Trump makes a 7-second cameo at the Plaza Hotel in New York, where Macaulay Culkin's character Kevin McAllister asks him for directions to the lobby.
Kevin, that's his fucking name.
Don't be rude.
The CBC has issued a statement that it's not uncommon for scenes to be cut for commercial time. Notably, Trump's scene was cut alongside others. According to the CBC, the edits were made over 5 years ago when they acquired the rights back in 2014.
I don't remember them cutting scenes. I know I watched it twice because they played 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3.
To his cameo being next. I'm Meg Black.
680 News Time, 8:06. An exciting event on Boxing Day, the beginning of the World Junior Hockey Championship. And Team Canada hustled for the win in their first game against the U.S. today. Sportsnet 590, the fans, Calaming has the recap.
The World Juniors began with a big rivalry game. It was Canada opening the tournament against the USA, and the Americans took a 2-0 lead in the first period. But then Connor McMichael, Barrett Hayton, and Nolan Foote gave the Canadians the lead after the second. Canada held on for a 6-4 win. Hayton had 2 goals in the game, but potential first overall pick at the next NHL draft, Alexis Lafreniere was the star with 1 goal and 3 assists.
Right? The punch is
Canadians
stupid.
played Russia on Saturday. Meantime, the Czechs, Swiss, and Swedes were also winners on opening day. From Sportsnet 590, The Fan, I'm Calaming.
And this is apparently the youngest Canadian team in tournament history, and they clinched this win with a 6-4 victory over the U.S.
You're listening to All News Radio, 680 News at 8:07. Toronto police have identified the 55-year-old victim in the city's 74th homicide of the year. Officers responded to 251 Sherwood Street, just north of Dundas, for unknown trouble around 4:30 on Sunday afternoon. A man was pronounced dead on scene, and police have now identified him as Dalibor Dolic. There's no word yet on any suspects. Anyone with information is being asked to contact police.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Harvey Brooker Weight Loss for Men. Well, there's still some time, but it is definitely running in if you are trying to snag some last-minute.
I don't think it's wrong for them to tell us it's a subsidized housing building, but I think when it's a privately owned building, they should put the name of the company that owns that building every time too, man. But make it fucking easy.
Trying to do all the other malls, finishing at 11. Those have select LCBO and beer stores open today. The TTC is running on a holiday schedule and Go Transit on a Saturday operation schedule.
680 News Time, 8:08. It turns out that more Americans filled their carts online during the holiday season, which helped push total sales even higher. According to data from MasterCard Spending Pulse, U.S. retail sales rose 3.4% from the beginning of November to Christmas Eve, compared with last year, with online sales surging 18.8%. Online shopping made up nearly 15% of total retail sales. MasterCard says department stores, which have been hit hard by online shopping, had trouble getting shoppers in their doors, with total sales falling 1.8%. 2019 marks the shortest holiday shopping season since 2013.
This is 680 News. Well, it's still the holiday season, which means many people are preparing to celebrate with loved ones all the way into the new year. And keep in mind, holiday ride campaigns remain in effect until January 5th. And the LPD is now reflecting on some of the numbers of impaired driving charges that have been laid across the GTA over the last 5 years. OPP Sergeant Kerry Schmidt tweeting that provincial police have laid around 7,520 impaired driving charges, and for the most part, the number of charges did decline from 2015 to this year. Now, 5 years ago, more than 1,700 charges were laid compared to more than 1,300 this year, and police added that more than 2,200 collisions have been investigated since 2016 where drugs or alcohol were involved. Now, they're still aiming for 0 incidents, and officers are encouraging you to contact them if you suspect anyone driving impaired.
We'll update you on your gas prices coming up in just 30 seconds.
680 News Time, 8:09.
This is...
Man, I've seen cops driving and smoking crack while they're drunk. That's really fucking look. Motherfucker, eh? There's some about that. It's twice there. Oh, you weren't supposed to see all that. Not that I did.
I've lost 40 pounds myself, and I've lost over 80 pounds. I was never.
There's 4 undercover cops rush me. I don't realize they're cops. They all look like they're out fucking clubbing. They grab me. One of them says, "That's not the right guy." I say, "I'm going to reach in my pocket and pull out my driver's license." And they look at it, and they say, "No, it's not the guy." And they say, "Thanks for walking our streets at night."
Will not change at midnight, staying at $1.19.9 a liter at most GTA stations. In 60 seconds, we'll head back to the traffic center with more from Colette.
I had 2 ounces in my bag. I thought, what? I was 50 feet from my front door. I was about to go around the corner to where I live, and these guys are walking up the street, and suddenly they surround me.
Purchase or lease any non-hybrid vehicle and get a free set of winter tires. Plus, lease rates from 0.49% or finance from as low as 0% on select models. Want free winter tires? It's time to Toyota.
I didn't mean to test these coffee containers, but apparently we've determined you can drop them 4 feet and they will not pop open the first 2 times.
Chain Wine, wall-to-wall
Mall
Fuck, I
inventory
still might as well have been a cigarette because
absolute
he's running
lowest
sideways,
all-day
right?
prices anywhere. Unbeatable door crashers. From wireless and audio products to 4K smart TVs with 2-year warranty. All
I'm gonna
on
read this
sale.
shit.
Up to 80% off. Many items below cost.
They haven't said shit about the. I'm gonna Google those words right now to see what pops up.
Time, 8:11. It's time for traffic and weather together on the ones. With a look at the roads, here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks, and for the most part, the major routes around the Toronto area in great shape,
West
except if you're on the
and
eastbound
Toronto.
QEW. This report brought to you by
Dumpster
Nikon Canada. It's eastbound QEW east of Dorval,
fire.
where we've got a collision in the HOV lane, emergency
Fire.
crews blocking the left lane and the right lane, only giving you the two center lanes to get through. Yes, it is a collision. Emergency crews are there. Numerous units right now. The backup
2
is
days
from
ago,
east of the
1 day
third line,
ago.
so you have time to get off
Oh,
that third line. You
this
can
one
head
has more information.
south down to Spears, get back on at Trafalgar. That will save you some time. And as I mentioned, most of the major routes, of course, in great shape. We do have pothole repairs on the eastbound 401. It's east of Brock Street in the Whitby area. The left lane is blocked. Getting around in Brampton, a police investigation on westbound Beauvais from west of the 410 to approaching South Lake Boulevard. The right lane there is closed. You can't get by in the left lane, according to police. Snap up a Boxing Week bargain on Nikon DSLR cameras and lenses. Right now, you can save up to $800 during the Capture Savings event at your local Nikon authorized dealer.
Oh, we got video. What the fuck?
Near -3, some sunshine for Saturday and highs near +3. Your overnight low tonight, 4 degrees.
Right now in downtown Toronto, light drizzle falling. It's still 3 degrees, feeling like -2. Over at Pearson Airport, it's now 1 degree, feeling like -4. With that wind chill, light drizzle falling there as well. So to come on 680 News with the Toronto Maple Leafs and Raptors both off tonight. All the talks around this year World Juniors as Team Canada kicked their tournament off in style today against the United States. Sports at 5:90, the tales and more coming up. 680 News Time, 8:13.
Joker, a meteor set to collide with our west coast in mere minutes. What do we do? Not to worry, Governor. I will simply fly around the Earth fast enough to reverse our polarity and turn back time. Joker away.
What the fuck?
Only taken 3 steps.
And this article refers to it as a body, but said she was alive when they found her.
Can the Toka help innocent citizens breathe easier? Probably not. Find out why at thetokaonline.ca.
The cheetah press doctor's opinion.
Motherfuckers. Homicide. Yeah, this is yesterday. Homicide unit investigating after body of female found in burning dumpster in North York. Female. Emergency crews were called to the city's West End Tuesday afternoon. Homicide investigators have taken over an investigation into the death of a female found inside a burning dumpster in North York on Tuesday afternoon. Yeah, okay, Tuesday. Emergency crews were called around 3:45 p.m. Tuesday for report life-threatening injuries and was not transported to a hospital. Police say the death is considered suspicious and that they are in the process of notifying next of kin. No further victim information was available. This said that she was fucking alive. So how? Wouldn't that be homicide 74? Or did I count wrong? Oh, it's gonna be fucking sports, eh?
They took a 2-0 lead out of the first period against Canada, but the Canadians scored 3 goals in the second, and then Alexis Lafreniere scored the game winner in the third period to help Canada win 6-4. Lafreniere had 1 goal and 3 helpers. Guelph Storm netminder Nico Dawes made 28 saves. Canada plays Russia on Saturday afternoon. Other finals, the Czechs beat Russia 4-3. Switzerland topped Kazakhstan 5-3, and Sweden edged Finland 3-2. Keeping with hockey, Chicago Blackhawks defenseman Brent Seabrook will undergo surgery on his right shoulder and both hips, which will take him out for the rest of the season. Seabrook was struggling with a career low in minutes per game. Gave award for the top Canadian athlete. And happening now in the NBA on Sportsnet, the Knicks lead Brooklyn 26-20 in the second quarter. Early in the first, 20-point lead for Detroit over Washington in the second quarter. Sports at 15 and 45 past every hour or anytime on the home of Tim and Sid now on radio and TV. Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
680 News Time, 8:16.
Hurry to Bass Pro Shops now through January 8th for the including clearance savings of up to 50% while supplies last.
If police deem this a homicide, it will be the city's 74th of the year.
Gear for ice fishing, camping, and hunting.
Human remains found along Brampton Highway. Really?
Perfect time to spend your Christmas gift cards at the lowest price of the year. Bass Pro Shops on Highway 400 at Vaughan Mills and
90 Toronto, the esteemed restaurant has been named the second best Italian restaurant in
No
the
fucking
world.
train on your trip. They got a fucking steam locomotive on the Peel Regional Police Center.
Entertainment Group. I want to congratulate three-star Michelin chef Alfonso Iacarino
Oh, I've
and
never
the
known
entire
that.
team at Don Alfonso for receiving such an incredible international honor. We look forward to continuing to provide exceptional dining experiences here in Toronto.
To find out more, visit DonAlfonsoToronto.com.
Even the fact that the exit remains closed, you already know. So there's no point reading it.
680 News Time, 8:17. Amazon says billions of products were sold on its website worldwide over the holiday season.
The top-selling fashion brands included Carhartt, Champion, and Adidas. Among toys, LOL Surprise Glitter Dolls, the Nerf and
Adidas
Strike
had some
Toy Blaster,
40%
and
off
anything
sale or some
Lego.
shit.
And in home goods, the Instant Pot Duo 87-in-1 pressure cooker, the iRobot Roomba 675 vacuum, and a Mr. Coffee mug warmer. Amazon also says it sold tens of millions in Italy.
The Italian press has dubbed it La Guerra dei Biscotti, the cookie wars. It all began with Ferrero, the producer of the sugar-loaded chocolate spread Nutella, launching a new Nutella-filled cookie, trying to steal some of the market dominated by the Italian pasta and cookie producer Barilla. Now Barilla is hitting back with its own chocolate spread, trying to steal some of Ferrero's 80% market domination. Italians eat cookies for breakfast, so the market is huge here, more than $1 billion a year. Megan Williams, ABC News, Rome.
Some Americans separated from loved ones by the Trump administration's travel ban have gone as
These motherfuckers appear to be from Denmark, but they don't explicitly say that.
waivers, which are supposed to help family members make it past the ban.
These are the products of Turkey. You're not going to shut down the Turkish economy because they make great chocolates.
And plagued with delays. Immigration lawyer Masha Khan Babe says the whole system is designed to frustrate applicants.
I didn't know the Italians made the biscottis. Okay, those don't count as cookies to me, man. They're like biscuits. It's even in the name.
Capacity to try to find an attorney, to pay an attorney, that people will just feel overwhelmed.
The U.S. government says more waivers have been granted as criminals have more in common with military strategists than they might think. 120 state and local elections under attack.
And you guys are the ones who are like at the pointy tip of the spear. Why shouldn't we train that way?
Eric Rosenbach's message involves a different kind of battlefield, defending free and fair elections.
Train, you rehearse, you exercise, you fail, you learn from the failure.
Little white people
Deal
shit,
with the
man.
hardest
I
and
don't
most
think that way
challenging
at all.
election
Man.
issues.
Being able to differentiate that broad-based attack and knowing where all of the different information sources.
Heat Washington.
Coming up, traffic and weather together on the ones. 680 News Time, 8:20.
We won't rest until all women are out of poverty. We won't rest until we get equal pay for equal work. We won't rest until harassment and violence stops. We won't rest until there is gender equality for all in Canada. We won't rest because we are the tireless. Take action. Support the Canadian Women's Foundation. Donate today at jointhetireless.ca.
It's 26 in store. The first 30 customers in store get a free gift card. Save $70 on Norton 360 Deluxe, now just $19.99. $150 on the Microsoft Surface Pro 7, now just $1049.99. And $70 on the Ultimate Ears Boom 3 waterproof Bluetooth speaker, now just $129.99. Plus, there's so much more. Get what you really wanted. Staples Boxing Day. Stores open early where permitted.
News Time, 8:21. It's time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
The problems that we have right now on the eastbound QEW, it's just east of Dorval. We had a crash in the HOV lane, but emergency crews are on the scene, so they're blocking the left lane as well as the right lane. You've got two lanes getting through right now. So the backup is just from east of 3rd line As I've mentioned, you might want to get off at Third Line, head south down to Spears Road, and take that eastbound. Get back onto the highway at Trafalgar. That will save you lots of time. Otherwise, the rest of the major routes moving quite nicely, quietly. We haven't spotted any delays as we look at the MTO and Toronto Transportation cameras, but we do have an investigation in the Brampton area. It's westbound Beauvert from west of the 410 to approaching South Lake Boulevard. They've got the right lane closed as for a police investigation, of course. Looks as though the backup is from Great Lakes Road, so approaching the 410 in that case. Simply Honda wants your family to love your car. Drop by 8081. Now let's get the extended forecast. Here's Denise Andriachi.
Periods of drizzle continue on and off throughout the rest of this evening, overnight, and even into Friday morning. We'll see some fog patches develop after midnight, kind of linger through the early part of Friday. Temps are mild to start tomorrow, and then we'll see temperatures fall throughout the day, down to -3 Friday night, sunny and +3 for Saturday. We're expecting periods of rain Sunday, 20 millimeters, very mild, highs near 9 degrees. Your overnight low tonight is +4.
The light rain has stopped in Toronto. It's now overcast and 3 degrees. Over at Pearson International Airport, rain stopping there as well. Overcast skies, 3 degrees. Feels like 1. 680 News Time, 820.
All the excitement of your favorite slots and table games at Casino Woodbine. Sign up for a free One Rewards membership today, and you could be eligible to get your first $250 on us. Need a lift? We've added new Toronto shuttle bus routes that will take you right to our front doors. Must be 18 plus. Rewards membership required. If you gamble, play smart. Casino Winnows home for gaming and entertainment. At 680 News, we know it.
And we guarantee it.
If we're off by more than 3 degrees, we'll announce a lucky winner of our growing gas jackpot.
Now, get more chances to win each month and vacation better with Sunwing.
Enter in December for your chance to win an all-inclusive vacation for 2 at the Grand Memories Splash and Music.
Room service and 7 enormous water slides.
The 680 News weather guarantee with Sunwing at the Grand Memories Splash.
At 680news.com.
Amazon's out with a summary of their holiday.
Amazon says the Mariah Carey Classic has held the #1 spot on Amazon Music since Thanksgiving Day. That's one of the stats included in the online retail giant's just released holiday sales summary. Lady Gaga's House Laboratories beauty lines among the bestsellers in the beauty category.
I don't know what the fuck Amazon Music is.
Guardians was Amazon's best-selling and most
Something else to look up.
U.S. over the holidays. Christopher Watson, ABC News.
Deal.
Why buy it here in Perpetuity? Well, when you experience it, you kind of feel that there's something intentional going on, and you can't ask for more than that.
That's nice to hear.
Aaron Park. It's time to Toyota. Time to get 0.49% finance rates up to 48 months on 2020 Corollas. All with Toyota Safety Sense. Aaron Park.
Local radio is awesome. Every day it connects millions of Canadians to their communities with local news, traffic, and weather, local sports, entertainment, and events. But don't just take my word for it. There's also my mom.
Hello.
My sister and her kids.
Hi.
My buddy Dave around the corner.
Go!
The guys in my neighborhood pizza place.
Hey!
My coworkers. My local taxi driver. Even weird Uncle Andy. Go on, pull my finger. Yeah, local radio. It's where you live.
For more information, visit RogersMedia.com/radio.
Literally nothing. There was literally 2 sentences on that whole
All 3
fucking
major
article.
benchmarks on Wall Street closed Thursday's trade at record highs, including the NASDAQ, up for an 11th day, its longest winning streak in a decade time ever. We'll see if Bay Street can build on any of the Wall Street momentum when it resumes trade on Friday. The Canadian markets closed today for Boxing Day. Could also see some strength from energy-related stocks as the price for oil closed at its highest level since September, with crude futures getting a lift from a drop in U.S. oil supply levels, down almost 8 million barrels, according to the American Petroleum Institute over the past week. The price for gold is also at its highest level in 8 weeks, $1,515 an ounce. For the complete wrap-up of what happened on the U.S. markets today, we'll go to Bloomberg News.
The Dow Jones Industrial Average climbed 106. The S&P 500 rose 17. The Nasdaq Composite gained 70, posting its first ever close above 9,000. Amazon was the biggest gainer in the S&P 500, up nearly 4.5%. It says it was a record-breaking holiday season, with more people trying Prime than in any prior year. Tens of millions of Amazon devices were purchased. yearly performance in a decade. iPhones and AirPods were high on many holiday wish lists, according to an Evercore ISI survey. Unemployment line shrank last week. The government says first-time claims for jobless benefit, that's a 3-week low. Lowry Kofsky, Bloomberg Radio.
That is a
The
clear
Canadian dollar
fucking picture. You're
electronically
on the
traded
bill,
online
buddy.
today, up by a third of a cent at 76.25 cents US. At the Business Center, I'm Mike Apple.
At Lowe's, we have everything you need for your renos for less.
My dream basement has red oak baseboards, sound insulation, and an audio engineer so my high school band can reunite and finally record our concept album. Well,
Just about everything.
Until Wednesday at Lowe's, it's Boxing Week. Get 33% off select laminate flooring. Plus, save $300 on a Brakes and Stratton snowblower. Now it's $699. Conditions apply. Do it right for less. Start with Lowe's. Some holiday deals on the when you think about them. Empty. You got me again, Internet. Not so much. Get a great holiday deal you don't have to think about at the Bring Home a Honda event. Lease the new 2020 Honda Civic LX for just $65 weekly at 3.99% and $0 down, including a $750 Honda bonus. Includes freight and fees for 60 months. Taxes extra. OAC. See HondaOntario.com. Bring Home a Honda. No thinking required.
I don't like that advertisement.
What to wear. The best weather reports in the city. Every 10
I would have thought purchasing a Honda required some thought, though.
Business travelers forecast in New York City.
Any Honda at random, and you
Los
wouldn't be doing
Angeles, clear
that.
skies, 10 degrees. Similar conditions in San Francisco, clear and 10 degrees. Right now in downtown Toronto. It's overcast,
Shit.
3. Over at Pearson International Airport, overcast skies, 2 degrees. It feels like -2 if you factor in that wind chill. The News Watch never stops. 680 News is CFTR AM 830.
Number 1 for news in Toronto. This is 680 News.
Making news right now. Police say a 53-year-old man is now set to appear in a Brampton court tomorrow. Investigators have stepped in after human remains were located around Highway 410 in Beauvair. On Boxing Day shopping, certain malls across the GTA are getting ready to close their doors in less than an hour. We'll tell you who coming right up.
The CBC is in hot water after airing Home Alone 2 without President Trump's 7-second cameo.
Alexei Lafreniere had a 4-point game.
I want to know who else's cameos in that movie.
USA and the
Who else's cameos got cut?
underway. Sports.
Based on that, I'll decide for myself if I think it was a prejudicial thing.
Trade with the NASDAQ up for an 11th day. The Dow gained 105.
We're together on the ones, helping you navigate the GTA this evening. Here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks. In this report brought to you by Shell. If you're on the eastbound 401, the ramp to Kiel, we had a vehicle fire. We've got the 2 right lanes blocked on that ramp. The fire is out, so now it's a fire cleanup. And you still have access to use that ramp as far as we can see on the cameras. Also, we've got pothole repairs in the left lane. That's until tomorrow. We also have quite the backup on the eastbound QEW. It's because of a crash east
Tomorrow
of
we'll see if
Dorval
they
within
say
the
it was
HOV
Saturday.
lane. Emergency crews are blocking the left lane and the right
I
lane.
see
So
construction
only 2
said
lanes are
road
getting through.
closed till
Basically, the backup
2021 and
right
shit.
now
What
is
the
from
fuck?
east of third line. It's absolutely jammed. As I've mentioned in my past reports, you might want to get off at the third line. Head south down to Spears. Take Spears east. It's looking great on both routes into and out of the downtown core. Haven't seen any problems right now anywhere, such as the 404 from the 401 up to Newmarket. Now, if you're in Brampton, westbound Beauvair, from west of the 410 to approaching South Lake Boulevard, we've got the right lane closed, the curb lane as police described it, all because of a police investigation. It looks as though that backup is from Great Lakes Drive. It's simple to get 50 air miles bonus miles. Just fuel up 4 times with any Shell fuel, only until December 27th. Details at shell.ca/air miles with fuel. Your next traffic report at 8:41. Right now, let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriashi.
Drizzly weather will continue for the rest of the night into Friday morning. Mild temperatures to start off on Friday, and then they'll fall throughout the afternoon. And by Friday night, we're down to lows near -3 with a few clouds. Your overnight low tonight, 4 degrees.
Overcast right now in Toronto, 3 degrees. Over at Pearson Airport, overcast skies and 2 degrees. 680 News Time, 8:33.
A 53-year-old Brampton man has been charged with second-degree murder following a fatal hit-and-run. The victim, a 51-year-old man from Brampton, was found in life-threatening condition and later died in hospital.
Field police say the suspect's vehicle was discovered and he was later taken into custody today. He will appear in Brampton court tomorrow. 6 Cities' Brittany Dooley has more.
It happened late last night in the Sandalwood and Bramley area. A family in Brampton is now feeling the heavy impacts of losing a family member after a man was hit and killed by a car on Sunny Meadow Boulevard.
We do know.
Constable Akil Mukin says they have one suspect in custody. Earlier, an extremely graphic video seemingly captured from a surveillance camera was circling on social media. Police have yet to confirm if it is connected to the incident. Anyone with more information is being asked to come forward. I'm Brittany Dooley.
Picture on the sun.
Peel police are also looking into the discovery of human remains around the Highway 410 and Beauvoir Drive area of Brampton with a collision in the area when they came across the human remains. So far, crews are trying to determine who they belong to. In order to do that, officers are now looking through missing persons reports across the GTA.
Toronto police are investigating after a woman was robbed near Yonge and Finch. 2 men wearing masks allegedly approached the woman just after 6 o'clock this evening. Police say they used a gun to rob her. They fled the scene in an SUV. Police are looking for one suspect described as a white male in his 20s, around 5'7", and was last seen wearing a black jacket. There are not many details about the second suspect as of right now. Any witnesses are being asked to contact police or Crime Stoppers.
When they arrived, police did find the body of a man who was pronounced dead at the scene. They've now identified the victim as 55-year-old Delaware Dolick. There's no word on suspects at this time, and anyone with information is asked to come forward.
Enough time in the day to grab all the Boxing Day deals in the city, but you sure can try. Whether or not you cross everything off your shopping list or return it, we'll be watching the malls for you and letting you know how much time you have left. If you're at Bramley Center, Vaughan Mills, or Shirley Gardens, you only have until 9 o'clock. If you're really hurting for time to shop, Yorkdale is closed at 10 and Toronto Premium Outlets open until 11. LCBO and beer stores all open today. The TTC is on a holiday schedule and Go Transit is on a Saturday routine.
This is 680 News. The holiday ride campaign are still going strong all the way until January 5th. So as you're preparing to head out, make sure you're doing so responsibly. And the OPP is also taking a moment to look back at the number of impaired driving charges that they've laid across the GTA over the last 5 years. OPP Sergeant Kerry Schmidt taking to Twitter saying the number of charges did drop from 2015 to this year. So back around 5 years ago, we had more than 1,700 charges and drugs are on the way.
A scary moment this morning when a 27-year-old woman was charged with impaired driving. Toronto police say when they stopped the vehicle, in the back seat they found the woman's 6-year-old child sleeping. Police say it was a Good Samaritan that called 911 to report.
This is 680 News. A bit of a surprise for many Canadians today when U.S. President Donald Trump was actually omitted from a CBC broadcast of Home Alone 2. President Trump has responded over Twitter to the situation, saying, quote, the movie will never be the same again, but in brackets, indicating he was kidding. Justin Trudeau claiming it might have been motivated by making it.
The uncut scene in question includes child actor Macaulay Culkin when he walks into the Plaza Hotel, bumps into Trump and asks him for directions to the lobby.
You'll
the
find
CBC
politics
said
in
Trump's scene
everything.
and others were cut from the film 5 years ago to make way for commercials. The edit was made back in 2014 when the broadcaster acquired the rights to the classic, 2 years before Trump was elected into the presidency.
The system is totally rigged and broken.
The system is rigged. President Trump has yet to speak on the
Says
matter.
the guy
but
who
hasn't
won.
kept his
That's the
family
problem I
quiet.
have with some of
His
these
eldest
statements.
son, Donald Trump Jr., thrust the story into the spotlight, condemning the CBC by retweeting.
680 News Time, 8:39.
680 News. Year in Review. Brought to you by the Chesterfield Shop.
I'm Simon Bennett with a look back at the year of Bianca.
Astounding Andreescu.
Bianca Andreescu, from relative unknown to superstar. Her rise beginning with a win at Indian Wells in March, and then what a summer. The first Canadian in 50 years to win the Rogers Cup. Her opponent in the final, Serena Williams, pulling out less than 20 minutes in with injury. Andreescu consoling her
I don't know
rival
if
with an
that
injury
counts.
memory, but they would meet
I
again.
didn't know that
in
part of the
Grand Slam
story.
final.
You only sort of, you won by default, eh?
A life-changing moment on September 7th. Andreescu facing Serena again and winning the U.S. Open, the first Canadian to ever win a Grand Slam singles title.
It's so crazy, man. I've been...
She
Is
lost.
Canada's
Whoa.
best athlete. Hashtag She the North.
For the year review, I'm Simon Bennett.
I don't think this should count as a win.
I'm Steve Friedman from the Chesterfield Shop. We're proud to offer you
It should be like a mandatory rematch to finish that shit if you draw it like that.
Right now, during our famous Chesterfield Shop Boxing Week sale, we can also offer you our best prices of the year. On behalf of my family and everyone at the Chesterfield Shop, we wish you the very best. Great Boxing Week specials all week long in North York, Newmarket, Mississauga.
Now, the 680 News gas price update. Enpro is predicting the price of gas is not going to change at midnight. It's going to hold at $1.19.9 a liter at most GTA stations. And coming up, we'll have traffic and weather together on the ones. 680 News Time, 8:40.
Hi, I'm Warren Holloway. You'll never forget the day you got a Lexus. Make Android Auto from just $188 bi-weekly for 40 months, and that includes $1,500 in delivery credits. Expect excellence at Don Valley North Lexus, 3120 Steeles, just east of the 404. Details at DonValleyNorthLexus.com.
Have you heard? TSC is celebrating body fashion, jewelry, beauty, and home products. Plus, all electronics are available with 12 easy pay payments. You won't want to miss a beat during TSC's Boxing Week blowout. Now until New Year's Eve.
I'm gonna read that quickly. Now I'm gonna read this shit. I swear I'm gonna read this shit. This is some fucked up shit. Billions of dollars.
Time for traffic and weather together on the ones. Here's Colette Desjardins.
Thanks, Carl. And Canada. Right now on the ramp from eastbound 401 to Kiel ramp, east of Bronx Street in Whitby, left lane is shut down for pothole repairs until tomorrow. That's what we're told. And on the east,
you'll notice they're getting those toll-free cell phone calls right now.
Is from east of the third
You said this would be done yesterday.
And if you're traveling on the Gardner or the DVP, still in great shape, top to bottom, especially east-west on Gardner Expressway. In Brampton, westbound Bovaird, from west of the 410 to approaching South Lake Boulevard, we've had a police investigation. Only the right lane is closed, but the backup event. Your next traffic report is at 8:51 right now. Let's get the forecast. Here's Denise Andriacci.
Periods of drizzle and some fog patches will continue tonight and into Friday morning. Then will be mostly cloudy through the...
Right now in downtown Toronto, we have overcast conditions, 3 degrees, feels like -2 with the wind. Over at Pearson International Airport, cloudy conditions and sometimes misty. Right now it's 2 degrees, also feeling like -2 with that wind. 680 News Time, 8:43. The youngest Canadian team in World Junior Tournament history has beat the U.S. 6-4 in their initial game of the tournament today. And Sportsnet 590, the fans Calaming has all the details.
If the World Juniors give the national spotlight to the best junior hockey players on the planet this year, Canada's Alexis Lafreniere and Quinton Byfield might get extra attention as potential first overall picks at the next NHL. It was Lafreniere who sparkled with 1 goal and 3 assists. Byfield didn't pick up any points, but he's got plenty of tournament left. The Canadians play Russia on Saturday afternoon.
Politics and nationalism.
Swiss and Swedes also won on Boxing Day. From Sportsnet 590, The Fan, I'm Calaming.
680 News Time.
Tell us the curling results again. I can't remember them, sir.
At Aaronwood Ford, you'll get our amazing year-end price, plus our gift of up to $2,000 in Aaronwood bonus bucks. It's the same.
I need to get drunk and throw rocks down hockey rink.
No admin fees, plus up to $2,000 Aaronwood bonus bucks.
Next up, we're going to sports. There's sports and then sports. I'm not listening to it. They're going to repeat the exact same damn story they just gave for the next fucking segment, huh? All right, so where were we? Aimco. So we have to go back a couple months. October 20th. Well, that's about 2 months. October. Teachers uneasy after pensions transferred as part of provincial budget. Some teachers are looking for answers after learning their pensions are on the move without their consultation or approval. Teachers' pensions are currently managed by the Independent Alberta Teachers Retirement Fund Board, or ATRF, which was established in 1939. The corporation currently administers pensions for all teachers in school jurisdictions and charter schools in Alberta, with an option for private school teachers to join as well. But text of the budget released Thursday disclosed. Remember, they're about to spend $4.4 billion on a pipeline that doesn't exist yet, or whichever one they're buying. and processes will be expanded to support broader aviation board, and funds managed for Alberta Health Services will also be transferred to AIMCO according to the budget. For 7 years, said a lack of consultation was what most bothered him. Shit, that'll go welcome. Quote, you know, there are close to 40,000 teachers in the province. This pension is pretty big, Martin said. Every teacher is putting away something close to something like a second. The ARTF currently manages $18 billion 2018 fiscal year. It's not bad. Rod Matheson, CEO of the ATRF, said he was informed of the government's plans when the budget was released on Thursday. Quote, our reaction was very much one of surprise. At this point, in other funds. So this is only like 20%, like a 20% addition or some shit. To them, it's just more. Just get more. Get it all. My concern is not the investments. Will it still be that way? In a statement posted on Twitter Saturday, the Alberta Teachers Association called the move a quote-unquote hijacking. Quote, making this decision without consulting the ATA is extremely disrespectful to those who are plan members and owners, ATA President Jason Schilling wrote. In a statement provided to CBC News, a spokesperson for Alberta's Treasury Board and Finance, Jerica Goodwin, wrote that details around the specific timing of the change would be available when legislation is tabled. Quote, it is not a requirement to notify the ATRF of this change, and it is proposed until the legislation is tabled and passed, Goodwin wrote. Goodwin wrote the move of the funds to AIMCO was part of a commitment to make government more efficient. ATRF assets will be moved under AIMCO, so ATRF will have reduced investment management costs and therefore higher expected investment returns, she wrote. Making this change eliminates duplication and reduces the cost of investment services. Not at that level, not really. You're already getting the cheapest or the best rates you can get if you got $18 billion to throw around. The ATRF board will remain in place to oversee the pension. Matheson said the ATRF had not yet received that information from the government. Quote, to be fair, I have not personally spoken with anyone at the Alberta government myself. I've reached out and we're going to set up a call and have a discussion, he said. The focus for us is not about duplication or cost because we strive for low cost, but much more importantly, what we strive for is the best possible net investment returns. What we earn on the investments, net of all costs, is really the most important thing. It's not just cost, it's about the net returns that we earn. This story gets more interesting. So it's what, October 27th? November 18th. Why would they do this? So, oh, this is all huge text. Okay, I don't know how many page views it is. This one is fucking long. Hard shit's at the beginning anyway. Quote, Jason Kenney says he will use the referendum to determine if Albertans want their Canada pension plan shifted to AIMCO. This is another thing they're doing. In addition, they want to take the portion of residents of Alberta's custody of AIMCO. This is, quote, Jason Kenney says he will use a referendum to determine if Albertans want their Canada pension plan shifted to AIMCO. Jonathan Tetmeyer, Associate Communications Coordinator of the Alberta Teachers Association, observed before asking a perfectly reasonable question on social media yesterday. So, Mr. Tetmeyer tweeted, I will endeavor to answer this question. The answer is because he doesn't have to. Alberta law lets Mr. Kenney hijack teachers' retirement funds by legislative fiat and hand them over to the Alberta Investment Management Corp, commonly known as AIMCO, the Crown Corporation set up to manage nearly $17 billion Alberta teachers. And then you look at the cost of this facility they're going to build is either $18 billion or $44 billion or whatever the fuck they're talking about. The Alberta government's pension agenda, readers need to understand, has nothing at all to do with looking out for the interests of teachers and retired teachers. It will be considerably more challenging for Mr. Kenney to get his paw exercised if that will help it badger the federal government into handing over our retirement funds to an agency into which it can dip its fingers. That's like a fucking speed bump when I'm reading it. And I read that before. It still fucked me up. Since we already have a pretty clear understanding of the electoral ethics of Mr. Kenney and his allies, not to mention their unquestionable campaign skills and the unlimited PAC funds that would be available to assist such an operation, an electoral victory on a pension referendum cannot be ruled out. Another tweeter, an apparently well-informed but seemingly pseudonym in plain sight in Section 19 of the Alberta Investment Management Corporation Act. Section 19 says in part, in other words, Becky Turlington concluded correctly, the vast bulk of it belongs to pensioners, not the government. Scary, end quote. They're trying to steal trillions. Explains why the government is in the process through Bill 21. Okay, right. Some of this shit gets tedious, and it's a long article. This also explains why the government is in the process through Bill 21, the tendentiously named, what the fuck is tendentiously named, Ensuring Fiscal Stability Act, of snatching back the independence of large government plan. There's 2 more pension funds that were 30 years ago by the progressive conservative government of the day and finally delivered by independent governance for the LAPP and PSPP lets taxpayers off the hook for unfunded liabilities by the fund. So on the face of it, this would seem like a natural policy for a bean-counting government like the UCP to supply dollars in assets of the various Alberta public sector pension plans for whatever reason it wished. So 60 plus 18, it says they have 100 already. That's like 200 billion. That's 0.2 trillion we're at already. Moreover, the NDP's Joint Governance of Public Sector Pension Plans Act would have allowed the independent competitive spirit the UCP claims to believe in. This is as good a moment as any, I suppose, to remind readers that Norway, with a population and fossil fuel resource similar in scale to Alberta's, has accumulated more than $1 trillion in its sovereign wealth fund over the past 40 or so years. Whereas Alberta, under more than 4 decades, savings trust fund was reported to be as 1,000 billion. That's 18 billion. $18 doesn't get you to your bank machine, and $1,000 is about as much as it'll give you. So we do need to ask, are these the people we want managing any of our retirement savings? Yeah. Which brings us back to the CPP. Mr. Kenney is not letting up on his campaign to get his mitts on that money, and from his perspective, why not go for the main chance? I'll read some of this. I don't think I'll make it to the whole thing. Quote, another report suggests that Albertans, I don't know what all this shit is, led by Preston Secession, needs to be part of the strategy Manning makes its report. He failed, however, to mention several salient facts. First among them was that the report in question was done by, wait for it, AIMCO. Readers will agree AIMCO is hardly an unbiased source of information in these particular circumstances, despite its gee-whiz presentation in Calgary's Post-Media newspaper. Which, by the way, there's like 2 media companies in Canada now that own all the fucking newspapers and all the TV and radio stations. There's 2 main companies. Second, Quebec chose to stay out of the CPP when it was created in 1965 by the Liberal government of Prime Minister Lester B. Pearson, not to pull out with God only knows what kind of nefarious intentions when it has been operating successfully for more than half a century and has the security of a vast fund of $330 billion to protect retired Canadians from the vagaries, I don't like that word, of volatile markets that conservatives love, except when they're not working in the interest of dreamed up by Stephen Harper et al. Those opposed to withdrawing from the CPP were also concerned that an Alberta plan would reduce pension portability between Alberta and other MLAs on the Committee on Strengthening Alberta's Role in Confederation said in their final report. I don't name this shit. These names are way too long. Quote, they worried an Alberta plan would be subject to more risk due to its reliance on a smaller population of contributors. They noted that Alberta's current demographics could shift quickly and significantly. Yeah, really. Leo DeBever, former CEO of AIMCO, told the CBC last week that the idea makes no sense from the point of view of efficiency. So every single argument they put forward as to why they want to do this is being knocked down by people that seem to have a good point of view on it. So it would be nice, one supposes, if Mr. Kenney would point political to attack and discomfit the Liberal government of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, not to benefit Albertans, particularly the Kenney government has recently de-indexed payments to severely handicapped Albertans. So they're hitting everybody every which way they can. It's safe to assume Albertans dependent on a provincial pension plan might well face the same fate the moment it suited the government's need for its pressing question of what could. They're all trying to steal the money. None of this answers to. I could be wrong. None of this answers the pressing question of what kind of directives the UCP might give to AIMCO. They could order it to invest additional funds in the Alberta oil patch to buffer it from the cruel decisions of the market. A policy that might be politically popular but would not be a sound in history of conservative government. So you can tell this article is written by somebody that doesn't want certain people in power, right? The history of conservative governments in Alberta should not make us confident they would exercise good stewardship of our retirement savings. Regardless of what Mr. Kenney's tame Fair Deal panel concludes, we must hope that the federal government and the rest of English Canada firmly reject the idea of handing over Albertan CPP savings to Mr. Kenney and his cronies. I think you should let me pick who's going to invest that money on my behalf. I should be able to set up an account with whatever fucking company I want and get a statement every so often. One thing is certain, if the Premier could just pull out of the Canada Pension Plan without so much as a buy-year leave, he would. Oh, okay, half this fucking... All right, this is only loads all the fucking comments for some reason. All right.
Afternoon. The gender and age of the victim is unknown at this time. Officers are now looking through missing persons reports across the GTA.
Here in the city, Toronto police are searching for two men who were wearing masks, apparently, and allegedly robbed a woman at gunpoint near Yonge and Finch. Officers responded
I
to
hope
the
you
area
motherfuckers get caught.
Investigators say
Good.
suspects fled in an SUV. Now, some details have been released for one
True shit.
behind us. But the
All
Western
you white
cold
people look the
hasn't
same
been around
sometimes,
as
eh? Like,
often.
for real.
Temperatures will continue to climb through tomorrow
And
afternoon.
4 undercover
With
cops all
daytime
look
highs
exactly
reaching
the
double
same.
digits in some areas. 680's weather
through the
Oh,
overnight
okay.
and to start the day on Friday, we could see highs near +10, but through the afternoon, we'll see a shift in wind direction. We'll start to tap into some cooler air, and temps are going to steadily fall through the day tomorrow.
Denise says temperatures will dive, but are still above seasonal for this time of year. Upwards of 20 millimeters of rain could fall through Monday.
You're listening to All News Radio 680 News. Well, it's that time. We're almost running out of the possibilities to get some Boxing Day deals.
There's one
And
more.
if you were trying to catch some last-minute gift discounts, well, we only have a few late-night shopping opportunities
I
left.
don't know if I
Your
want to read
deal is
this
open
thing.
till
Hold
about
on.
10, and Toronto Premium Outlets is staying open till about 11.
Despite what some retailers would have you believe, Boxing Day has nothing to do with pugilism. Nor does it have anything to do with cashing in on big sales events. Rather, in Britain and other countries like Canada and Australia, the day after Christmas is a secular national holiday. Many think it started with the tradition of wealthy people giving servants and tradespeople what was called a Christmas box that would contain money or a gift. Churches placing boxes outside to collect money for people in
The victim of the city's 74th
They were talking
homicide of the
about
year.
some fucking thing about ships having a box of money for good luck. I don't know what they're talking
Just
about.
north of Dundas around 4:30 Sunday afternoon. That's when they found the body of a man who was pronounced dead on scene. He's now been identified as 55-year-old Dalibor Dolik. There's no word on suspects, and anyone with information is being asked to contact police.
It's the end of the decade, and the OPP are reflecting on their work in the GTA.
He's in the
Sergeant
decade,
Kerry
too.
Schmidt with provincial police tweeted about the impaired drive, 20 impaired driving charges in the GTA during the last 700 in 2015 to just over 1,300 this year alone. Police also say they investigated over 2,200 collisions since 2016 where drugs or alcohol.
Shit, on the cell
Today,
phone.
we're finally hearing from U.S. President Donald Trump.
That's the number I want.
Has the latest.
The CBC is under fire after Trump's cameo in Home Alone 2 was edited out of their broadcast. Donald Trump Jr., the president's eldest son, retweeted criticism of the public broadcaster for airing a version of the 1992 holiday movie without his father's scene.
Excuse me, where's the lobby?
Down the hall and to the left.
Thanks.
Now, in response, the CBC confirmed in a statement that the scene was cut of the impeached president solely for time, and it was removed alongside others they deemed not integral to the plot. Trump was elected. I'm Meg Black.
680 News Time, 9:08. Team Canada came out victorious in their first game at the World Junior Championship. Here's Sportsnet 590, the fans, Calaming.
Surge in the second. There were another 5 goals in the third period. The Canadians had 3 of them, including the game winner by Alexis as well. Guelph Storm goalie Nico Dawes made 28 stops in the win. And the rivalry games keep coming. Canada plays Russia on Saturday afternoon in the Czech Republic. The hosts also won
on the price at the pumps.
680 News Time, 9:09.
This is 680 News.
In this corner, just looking for Boxing Day savings are coming to Appliance Canada. Find incredible Boxing Day specials savings at Appliance Canada. Fridges, dishwashers, ranges, washers, and dryers. Upgrade your kitchen and your life. Mississauga.
And now for the 680 News gas price update and for predicting the price, traffic, and weather together on the ones. 680 News Time. 9:10.
First thing you do. That's right. Tune into your favorite station. Well, guess what? You're not alone. People are listening to radio. To work, from work, at work. But the thing is, they're not just people. They're friends. They're ties with radio. Get started right now. For more information, visit RogersMedia.com. Hey, Tim. Yes, so the radio show we're doing, we're still talking about sports, of course. Sure. Got a question, though. Not a big deal or anything. Yeah. Since we're on the radio, I assume clothing is optional? You do know we're still on TV, right? So that's a yes. Makes you serious about sports and fully clothed. Weekdays at 5 p.m. Watch on Sportsnet and listen on Sportsnet 590 The Fan through the Sportsnet app.
QEW, Eastern Dorval, we had a serious crash. That has cleared. So right now, volume on the eastbound QEW lane closed because of pothole repairs. And if you're headed northbound on the 404, at Stone is blocked for construction. Right now, on City Street, southbound Allen at Transit Road, we've got a crash. So at this point, there's no access from Allen Road to Transit Road as a result. It's Boxy Week at Road and Fly. Details in
never
store.
thought
Your next traffic report at
to
9:21.
put a buzzer
Now
on
let's
this
get the full
chat
counts.
thing.
Here's Denise
That's some kind of
Andriotti.
stuff to sit here and look at myself to watch
Temperatures are
this
mild for Friday
shit.
morning, and then they'll fall throughout the day. Overnight lows Friday near -3. Some sun.
2 degrees, overcast skies, feels like -4.
Some cancers. Moderate exercise is recommended, like brisk walking, tennis, gardening, or water aerobics. Cancers that can be reduced include colon in men, breast, uterine, kidney, and others in women.
The findings were culled from data from 9 universities involving over 750,000 adults.
Oh,
On 680 News, Calaming from Sportsnet 590 The
Yeah,
Fan.
in general, you'll be healthier if you exercise.
Canada's
I
World
don't think you should be telling people to kill cancer.
680 News Time, 9:13.
I'm Christopher Lena, General Manager of Lexus Downtown. I hope your Friday or Saturday. It's our Boxing Week event, and it's a great opportunity to get an exceptional rate on a Lexus, as low as 0.9% on select models. Cash incentives up to $8,000 on selected 2019 models. And for 2 days only, special prices on all pre-owned and demonstrator vehicles. I'd love to meet you. Visit LexusDowntown.ca for details.
Offers Drug Mart program works together with local charities to help women's health initiatives in our communities. Together, we're empowered. Together.
Overcast skies and 3 degrees. Good evening. From the 680 News Broadcast Center in downtown Toronto, I'm Lucas Castelletto.
And I'm Carl Garnish.
A car outside a Brampton home. The incident happening in the evening hours on Christmas. Police say 1 arrest has been made.
An investigation is underway after human remains were found near Highway 410 and Beauvert in Brampton. And now police say they're combing through missing persons reports to try to see if they can link any identity.
And the CBC confirms that Donald Trump's cameo was removed from Home Alone 2, lost in New York.